Go.
With some Xbox babies, put the switch up. See me gearing up for war, don't get it mixed up. I come in peace, kid. I'm bringing commentary and the new releases. I put them hours in to get prepared now. We play on expert level, don't be scared now. I'ma destroy you when I'm forza, I can tear it down. If you ain't tuned into the channel, keep your head down. Cut the fix up. With some Xbox babies, put the switch up. See me gearing up for war, don't get it mixed up. I come in peace, kid. I'm bringing commentary and the new releases. I put them hours in to get prepared now. We play on expert level, don't be scared now. I'ma destroy you when I'm forza, I can tear it down. If you ain't tuned into the channel, keep your head down.
This designation.
I
You
got
basically
that.
have the
I
same
got-
PC I have.
I got the 4090.
Yeah,
I got
4090.
Rand. We're live. Go ahead and tell the audience what you.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
128 gigabytes of RAM.
Talk
Asante?
that stuff. Talk your stuff.
All right.
And guess what? I'm only going to use it to make videos, run the podcast, and watch YouTube videos.
You know what's
Oh
crazy?
my God. You're
I
gonna
have-
waste it not
what's-
using any games.
What's insane is I had got a PC thinking maybe I'll game on it, and I haven't used it but to watch YouTube videos and use it for podcasting. I played like one game one time and then moved back to the Xbox.
I had to buy it because my last the one I'm using now, the one I've been rocking, I bought in 2017. It's got a 1080 in it, right? And I was like, you know what? I need to buy something so I can take some money off my bill, my tax bill.
Yeah, hey,
So, all right, well, let's buy something new.
there you go.
know, so.
Yeah, it's good.
So, shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you all for joining us. This is The Fix. I'm Umbra. You know who I am. I don't have to tell you. I'm well known. I'm the most well known on this podcast, in fact.
Wow.
You know.
And so humble.
Very humble.
I'm
Glad
joined.
we could get you this week.
Hey,
Umbra.
you listen. It's hard. It's tough. I'm exclusive, but I'm joined here by my brother Daniel McGee.
Hey, everybody.
And we have two legendary guests with us tonight. See, I'm sharing the love with you guys. You see that? We got two legendary guests. One in the legendary Chicago brother of mine, Randall Thor, the man with the million. What's up, Rand?
I'm happy to be here with my Chicago brother, Infinite Umbra.
Absolutely.
You know, the weather's nice. It's 40 degrees here in Chicago in December, which it's fine by me. Let it be 40 degrees the rest of the winter. I'll be perfectly happy with that. Although, let's see, the Bulls suck, the Bears suck, the White Sox seem to be maybe leaving to go to Nashville, and I despise the Cubs. So,
Same.
yeah, the Blackhawks aren't good either, but at least they got Connor Bedard.
You know what's crazy? I had some new adverts made, thumbnails made for the show by my homie and the good brother Wondering Dutch. Shout out to Dutch. And I did a colorway. So many of the colorways are shout outs to Chicago, right? And one of them is a Cubs colorway. I was going to use that for you, but stopped myself and used like a Bulls colorway with the black and red and white.
I would storm off this podcast.
Like, where you going, man? It's just the north side. I'd
be like, Asante, when am I going to be on your podcast? You know?
Yeah, you know what?
We gotta get out of here.
Have you beaten what's it called? Starfield?
Of course he's beating Starfield.
Yeah, I beat it during the review period.
So, Kay, you might want to plug that. You probably bring Rand in
Yeah,
on that,
Yeah, we're talking about potentially doing like a spoiler cast where all of us, can finally talk about what the buttons do and why the post game is so unique and all of that stuff. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe we'll chat there, Rand. Maybe you want to join us on these occasions.
Yeah.
Mr. Everborn Bloviator will be joining as well.
The Bloviator. Yeah, but so I'll go through the guests first, and I'll get to you, Danny, just to ask what you guys have been up to. And so, Kay, since you last said it, what have you been up to, brother, and what's going on with you?
Oh, just enjoying myself in these here gaming and sometimes non-gaming streets. It's been an interesting couple of weeks for me. On the life front, they forced me to go into an office after 13 years, so wow. I use that as an excuse to go buy a Tesla. So I'm happy there.
I saw that.
I did that.
I saw it. It was navy blue, right?
Yeah. Recall a bunch of Teslas for
they
like
totally recalled a bunch of stuff. Yeah. But the difference with a Tesla recall is the software update. That's like via Wi-Fi update. You take the software, you're done. Versus take it into the shop.
Redoes that update for you.
Crappy. But you see now I'm actually living that life. I tend to be Mr. White Hat hacker a little bit here and there. So now I get to work on my own car. It'll be fun.
No,
but yes,
I look forward to the future where I'm Will Smith from iRobot, where they're like, what does this motorcycle run on? Is this gasoline?
Yes. Oh,
it's unobtainium.
Harvesting and of Pandora.
Good reference.
Thank you.
And since I'm on the fix, and the fix wants to know usually what you're watching, and this will actually be apt, oddly enough. For some reason, yesterday specifically, I almost woke up too late in the morning, too late because I fell down the rabbit hole of season 2 of the Wheel of Time on Amazon on Amazon Prime.
Wait. Wheel of Time. Now you're speaking my language.
This is why I said it's apt. Because we have the man Randall Thor 19.
Absolutely.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Rand. Did you have beef with that show?
I mean, look, I'm normally somebody who's very flexible when it comes to adaptations, right? I'm not like one of those who's like, you have to adhere to the books. I very much like understand the challenges of like something in a book may not adapt properly or to the screen. Like there's a lot of challenges there to make it exciting, right? But as someone who just adores the Wheel of Time and wants to see some of my favorite moments I've ever read in any book, period. My favorite moments in life, any sort of entertainment. Yeah, I have some problems with how they've done the seasons of Wheel of Time. Absolutely. I think I would give like season 1 a 6, and I think season 2 is way better.
Okay.
But I still have fundamental problems with some of the changes they've made from the book. And I'm normally not like this, but I've read the books like 7-8 times. And
I mean,
I'm
come
just
on,
watching
Rand.
this and I'm just like,
how can you expect them to please you? A man who's fashioned your name after the protagonist.
Yeah, but
who's read the books so many times, you could probably quote them yourself. There's nothing they could do short of literally recreate the whole thing.
That's a lie because Game of Thrones did it for the first 4 seasons.
You enjoyed
Game of Thrones
okay.
Was very
accurate.
Very true to the books.
It was, yeah.
And then it wasn't.
Well, they ran out of
right? For the first few seasons, it was. And I wanted that.
Then they ran out of Post-it notes.
Essentially.
I thought you were going to say until the end of Game of Thrones. I'm like, what show did you watch, brother? 'Cause Game of Thrones season 7 and 8 were like, ugh. Especially 8. That one made me so mad. 8 retroactively hurt the show for me. Like that's how bad it was.
So did you watch all of season 2?
For Game of Thrones? Or are you talking about?
I mean, I was talking to Sante about Wheel of Time.
Okay.
Oh, Wheel of Time. I think I'm on episode 6 right now. I've watched all of season 1, and I think I'm on episode 6 of season 2. Now, I expected this kind of response from you, Rand. Because this is a property you love. I understand that, right? And I mean, I appreciate that you're saying what you're saying about Game of Thrones, because when it came to Game of Thrones, I was that guy with my pinky in the air saying, "Well, the books were better." Like I just was. Yeah. Exactly, right? So and in that time frame, I had others that were looking at me going, "Well, from a movie or a TV show viewer perspective, I think it's great." So I'm going to be that guy on the other side now. There's some schlocky stuff in it. Season 2 is much better than season 1.
It is.
Right. The actors have gotten much better. They've put them through actual precarious situations. It's not so much CW kind of styling anymore, right? It's getting better. I would give it a strong 7.5.
Mm-hmm. You know what it needs
That's
most?
my thing
Needs
so
more
far.
time. 8 episodes is not enough to tell that
Too
story.
many wheels, not enough time.
Sure.
It needs. It literally needs 12 episodes. It needs 12 episodes to
Yeah.
tell that story properly.
What is
Yeah.
that? What is that
They
air on,
need-
by the way? What channel? What
It's on
So,
Amazon.
Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime. Yeah.
I'm a little surprised by that
Yeah.
because Amazon. We were talking about this before the show. I was in a party with Jedi Knight Peter and everybody, and we were talking about how Amazon does a lot of shows right when it comes to budgeting and everything like that. Like if you all seen their Lord of the Rings, you see how much money they put into that. So I'm a little surprised that it's not enough put into that for that. You sure it's
Well,
not?
I mean, it's not a budget perspective. I think it looks good. Like from a like stuff on the screen perspective, they do put the money on the screen.
Right.
I just kind of feel like a lot of these projects have been kind of like they were fledgling and then they started catching their stride, and you see them getting better and better with like The Boys and things like that. And this might have been one of their early projects they threw a lot of money at, but they didn't have the formula quite worked out yet. So it's getting better over time. But yeah, I agree that it's surprising that they don't do more with it, because even now, like to your point, they have other stuff they're bringing out, and look at what they're potentially going to do with Fallout. You know, it's looking very cool. You know, it's looking very interesting. So yeah, I just think they should like do away with the idea of that TV show format, because nobody does standard TV anymore, right? As Rand is saying, this thing deserves, 2-hour episodes. Give it a 2-hour episode. It is what it is,
We've gone from TV shows being 24 episodes in a season, and then like when Netflix started entering it, they like reduced it to 12. Then it was reduced to 10. Now it's like 8 episodes, and seasons take 2 years now. Like, it's like 2 years in between instead of every year. And it's just like the wait can be excruciating, right? Like Last of Us Part 2 is not coming until 2025. The next season of Wheel of Time's not coming until 2025, right? Like it's
so
just waiting all
you
that
think that's
time.
bad?
Rings of Power
You think
both
that's
get
bad?
there.
Some awesome shows, some awesome British shows I watch literally have 3 episodes. That's the whole season, right?
That
And
sounds
every
that
episode
sounds
is like a movie.
Sherlock.
Yes, exactly.
Sherlock.
Like I watch Sherlock. I love Sherlock. I loved a bunch of shows that are like that. Even at some point, later seasons of Luther was like that, where it was just like 3 episodes, and every episode was a 2-hour movie. It is what it is. As long as the content is great, I'll be there.
I still haven't watched Luther, and I'm big on detective mysteries and stuff like that.
Oh, bro, you need to do that. It's great. It's really good. Yeah.
Every time I see it, though, I think of Luther Vandross. I don't know what it is. Like Luther.
Well, I'm excited that you're watching Wheel Time and you're enjoying it, because it does bring me joy for people to like enjoy that. I mean, granted, I would be like, you should read the books because they're a million times better than but I understand, like, who wants to read a 15-book series where the books are literally 800 pages long each?
So
you know what I mean?
My history with this story is, although I did not read the books, I'm a married man with 2 children. But the first time I was introduced to this book was I think I was 23 at a girlfriend's house.
So we're like in the 1970s at this point.
Shut your mouth! Shut your mouth, you old man! I see your grades,
Who's
bro.
older,
Calm
me
down.
or you? Me or you? Who's the old?
I think we're right on like neck and neck. We'll talk about that later. Shut your mouth. But no, needless to say, like I used to date a girl who used to really be into the stories, like and like would tell me how intricate.
I would have married her.
But yes, I've always like known of the story. So when they decided to bring it to Amazon, I was like, oh yeah, this is my time to hopefully get the abridged version, because damn.
Okay. All right, you book nerds. Enough.
Jeez, look at Umbra just trying to cut in and be like, I'm taking control of my show now.
I've got
to. Listen, I don't know how to read, so I can't have you all dominating. No, I'm joking.
Damn.
Seriously, shout out to the chat, and shout out to our mods too. Shout out to Grey Monad. Shout out to Yodani, Huzada. What's up, brothers? And everybody who's here. I can't say hello to everybody right now because I don't want to mess up on anything I have set in order. But I do want to read some things. We had a super chat from Adidas 20, also a Chicago native. He said, "What's up, my Chicago natives? What's up, brother? Thank you for the super chat, the $5, as Boom would say, generous donation." So Enigmatic Dreams actually wrote something to me, and I want to get your take on it too, Rand. He says Italian beef, hot, sweet peppers, or both, and is it dipped? How do you have your Italian beef, Ren?
Normally, I mean, I like it hot. There's that.
Some like it hot, indeed.
Pause.
Some like it hot. I like it hot.
Yeah.
I'm not like the biggest pepper fan, so I usually don't get mine with peppers, but I do like it. It depends on if I'm at home and it's like, okay, whatever, I'll get it drenched.
Mm-hmm.
But if like, I'm somewhere else and it's like, I may not want to get it drenched because, sometimes you get that shit all over your shirt or whatever, so it's like, it depends. But I do like the au jus sauce, right?
The au jus.
Like, so I'll get it drenched depending on like where I'm at in the occasion. Yes.
So for me, I'm like, I hate being like messy when I eat, so I don't like my beef dipped. And so I'm kind of like, I've had friends be like, "Oh, you just so dry." I'm like, I just don't like my beef all running off of water. I like the bread to have a different consistency to everything else. So I'll get the au jus on the side and I'll dip it in there. But I like my Italian beef.
You are talking to someone. You are talking to Randall Bland. Remember?
Well, that's fair. Yeah, I mean,
I don't. People give me crap because I don't season my food. Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen. I don't know if that's necessarily.
I like bland Althor. That's bland Althor.
Listen, what's crazy is when you think about it that way, you're being dubbed as bland while not liking too much seasoning and stuff. While on the opposite end of you, Jazz is liking beans inside of bananas.
Yeah.
So like,
tell me about it.
How exotic are you guys' difference when it comes to that's funny. But no, like me, I'll get both hot and sweet peppers on mine too. But I don't dip it. I don't even like American cheese on it. Some people will put cheese on it.
I like mozzarella cheese on mine.
Mozzarella cheese is decent, but I don't even put any cheese on it. I just have it plain by itself.
I mean, it all depends. So I we'll eat it plain, but if there's an option, I'm like, yeah, give me mozzarella. But I never get American. Yeah. I like mozzarella.
Yeah. Oh, so Enigmatic says we should try the Portillo's giardiniera sauce. I have. It's pretty good. It's decent. Actually, Portillo's is actually probably my favorite spot to get beef from. To get Italian beef.
Yeah, bro. I've been wanting to pause the whole conversation, but I'm gonna be quiet real quick. Excuse me. I'm a man, baby. Forgive me.
Umbra, have you had the best pizza in Chicago?
Now I know you like what was it? Quads?
Palermo's.
Oh, Palermo's. That's it. Palermo's. Yeah. I have not had them yet.
When Cog came over, when Cog visited, I had to get him Palermo's pizza. And he was in heaven. He loved it.
Huh?
Oh my! It's because everyone thinks like Chicago pizza is like the deep. I hate deep dish, right?
Me too.
I hate deep dish.
Same.
But we got this other pizza that is just as good, if not better. And I get you can ask Cog. Cog was like in love. He's like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." I'm like, "Yeah."
And
Cog, you gotta have Palermo's sometime.
He's a New York native, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
so that ends the debate right there, guys. Everybody in the chat, Chicago pizza outdoes New York. So let's just get that. Of course. Let's get that.
Palermo's pizza is the best.
I got to try out Palermo's, man. We got, you know what? We all have to meet up as Chicago natives, man. I had a few people hitting me up like, "Hey, when can we go?" Shout out to Sith, by the way, Sith Lord. I'm not sure if he's in the chat, but he always keeps asking, "Hey, when can we all meet?" I'm like, I don't know if everybody wants to meet everybody. People might be weird, but. Shout out to
people might be weird.
People might be weird. People might be weird.
Chicago meetup. What?
Chicago meetup though.
Chicago meetup.
Xbox meetup. Let's go.
Let's do this. And come, sweaty and drenched in Italian beef oil and all of that. So
yeah.
Pause. Oh,
is that just normal for Chicago?
That's normal. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah, we just
like drenched in beef. Like what? I'm sorry.
I'm from Texas. We know a thing or two about beef, but we ain't drenched in nothing.
We ain't drenched in nothing. You know what I mean?
You all have your little squares, whatever, where you all fry bull testicles, so y'all can't talk in Texas. I don't want to hear nothing.
Look, we fry anything. You come down here, you bring whatever you want. You bring your Chicago pizza, we'll fry that too. All right?
Can you imagine that? Let me get a fried Italian beef
on one of the good years and get it done.
That's true.
But so Rand, what again? I know that you have you got your 4090 you're moving up to. Yeah, you're moving on up.
I'd be in the level of Asante here,
Yeah. Both of you all putting us both to shame. It's all good.
I ain't gonna use it besides like video content and stuff. But
I got a 40 series too, actually.
I
don't use it because a computer's just for like doing taxes and updates and stuff. So I don't know why I need it, but
So
You know, and it's the funny thing, Umbra, when I tell people that, I'm like, I have no plans to game on it. But I mean, who knows what happens in 2-3 years, right?
Right.
They're like, what do you're not gonna game on it? What do you mean you're not gonna go see past ray tracing and cyberpunk? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like,
they don't get it.
I don't know.
They don't get it.
Yeah,
Now,
they don't understand.
They
don't get it.
Like, we are console gamers. That's just it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't want to spend the 30 minutes playing with my settings before I play the game.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I don't want to have to
You
go
know?
to some FAQ to find the optimal settings for my
Apologies. I'll sit back, chat, and let the troglodyte speak. I will sit back. It's okay.
Oh yeah, that's
okay.
right.
If y'all memes,
other podcasts where it's a PC podcast,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
If y'all have seen, if y'all have seen the
meme,
memes where we throw the chum to the console players and they fight and you just sit back.
But wait
you know,
a minute,
yes,
aren't you guys just playing on handhelds that are less powerful than the consoles
what's
currently?
Yeah,
And isn't that all you got? Hey guys, I'm playing on my ROG Ally.
Yeah.
No, I'm playing on my Logitech G Cloud. No,
I
I'm
thought
playing
that
on
was
the
the-
Lenovo Go. Yeah,
the next
you know?
evolution of PC gaming is playing on the toilet, right?
You have no idea how joyful it is to play on a ROG Ally on the toilet. Until you do it, I don't want to hear.
Oh man,
That is how you get
See?
hemorrhoids. You
See?
cannot spend that much time on the toilet.
And this is why nobody will buy Mr. Infinite Umbra's ROG Ally View. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm not selling
it ain't
it.
going
This
down.
is staying with me. This is staying with Papa right here. But you know what? What's crazy is I even had issues with the ROG. As you know, Kay, I was like, okay, how do I do this, y'all? Now I got these. Now I got these drivers to install. So because the ROG is a PC too, and so I am fully consoled out. But I have gotten better with the ROG and getting it to work the way I need it to. So that is good.
Sure.
But it is a task dealing with these computers like this, man, and I don't have time for that. So it's like, man, let me just get to the game. But anyway, though, Rand, besides you, lording over us with your 4090, what have you been up to, brother? What's going on with you?
I mean, so talk about TV shows. Sante talked about Wheel of Time. I just finished 2 shows, one on Netflix, one on Max, both anime or animation.
Nice.
Oh.
One was Blue Eye Samurai on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people,
which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I recommend it to anybody. I mean, it's not like the most original story ever told, right? I mean, it's a revenge story,
cool.
but it's really good.
Cool.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And it just got renewed for season 2. So for anybody that doesn't want to start something, because Netflix tends to cancel things all the time, that's not the case here. You can really enjoy it. It's got some really great fight scenes. Fantastic. And then I also watched on Max Scavenger's Reign, which is a science fiction
I don't even know what that is.
story about a ship where passengers, I guess you'd say the ship sort of crash lands on a alien planet, and there's passengers there, and they're surviving, and the whole thing is like they're trying to get to the ship to leave, but they're stuck on this truly alien planet with lots of ridiculous alien things, and stuff happens. It's very hard to describe what the show's about. I'll just say it's like a really great depiction of like something truly alien. There's like 12 episodes. Each episode's like 25 minutes long, so it's not a lot of time investment.
What's the name of it again?
It's called Scavenger's Reign. I would check out a trailer on YouTube. It is like captivating.
I'm
watching
looking at
this.
pictures of it right now,
I'm
and
looking at it.
if I had seen pictures without context, I would have assumed it was an indie game and not a show, just based on the art
Yeah,
style.
it does look like
Yeah.
an indie game. Yeah.
But it is really like, I'm a big science fiction. I'm a big readers fantasy, but I'm also really like science fiction nerd. I started watching this, and it was just like it captured my imagination. Like, it is truly something out there.
Yeah, somebody recommended this to me a couple weeks ago, and I actually put it on my list. I haven't watched it yet. The graphic, like the look of it, is just out of this world. Like it's next level animation, looking like really raw, uncut kind of stuff. I hear.
Yeah, and like the things they do with the alien life forms and the alien, like it is truly something you'd be watching. You're like, your skin would start to crawl, right?
Yeah.
I've never really seen like an alien planet with all that sort of stuff depicted in this manner in media, really. Like, yeah, I can read books and imagine it in my mind, but nothing on like a screen like this. So I recommend it for anybody who wants like something like that. So I watched those 2 things are probably the things I've watched most recently that I would be like, yeah, this is really good stuff. So
All right, that sounds like a winner. I'm gonna check that out. There's a bunch of things I actually need to check. I've heard nothing but positives for the new Godzilla movie too. Have you all seen that?
-1. Yeah.
I will wait till that comes on streaming or rent. I don't.
Me too.
I haven't been to the movies since Joker at the end, in October of 2019. This was the last time I went to the movies.
It has been a while for me too, man. I can't even remember.
There's been so many movies since then. Where you guys been?
I mean, they all come to streaming and rental in 3 months after they come out. So what's the point of going to the movies?
I mean, look, if you want to be behind the curve, man, that's all.
I mean, I'm just saying, I got a 65-inch OLED here.
Same.
I don't need to put up with any kids screaming. The movies cost just as much
That's
more
right.
to
You're
actually.
In Chicago, so
That's
everyone there is
facts.
gross and covered in beef meat. So there's
Exactly. and tickets cost $20.
I understand why you wouldn't want
You
to
know,
go out
like
there.
why would I want to go? Like I can enjoy it from the comfort of my own home.
No, you 100%.
Everybody's covered in beef zhuzh over there.
Whatever you say.
Yeah, but Danny, what about you? What have you been up to, and what's going on with you? Tell everybody. Yeah, you had something to, as Kay Asante would
did.
say, to regale us with.
Well, I've had a hell of a week, honestly. So I've somehow managed to beat 2 and 1/10 games this week. Because I finished Liza P finally. I love that game. I think it's really good. It is the best Souls-like not made by From Software, and it might be better than a couple of the ones they made too. To be honest with you, my only like negative towards it is that I think they made the dodge really bad. Like the dodge is really bad. It's very much like if Bloodborne and Sekiro had a baby and that baby was a puppet. That's Liza P. And it's really, really good. It's just you take the formula of a very successful game series that they clearly love. Like it's not done out of malice. It's very clearly like a format of game that these developers love and have put a lot of time into. And they just had an interesting idea of like a world to put it in. And I think they absolutely crushed it. They do very much want you to do perfect parries all the time, which I think is a little limiting. I prefer the Souls games that allow you multiple different ways of playing and have all of them be equally as valid. Liza P, you really do just have to parry. Like that is the move. But otherwise, I think it's phenomenal. It ends on like a cliffhanger that I was not expecting. Without spoiling too much, it seems like they're going into like a public domain cinematic universe, and I am here for it. I am down. It's gonna be
A public
crazy.
domain, huh? Cinematic.
Yeah, well, because Pinocchio, the original story, is public domain now.
Fair enough.
And they queue up a sequel or DLC potentially that is another public domain property that I don't know if I should spoil. Does it matter if I spoil it? It's like not a thing yet. Does anyone care?
Don't spoil it because I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I don't want to know.
Definitely watch the credit scene. That's what I'll say. But it's phenomenal. I really love that game. It is a absolute crime that game was not. I don't think it was even nominated for best soundtrack, but its soundtrack is outstanding, and it should have been in best action, but they for some reason put it in best RPG. It's not really an RPG; it's an action game, and it should have won best action game because it's awesome. But whatever, don't matter.
What one? That was Zelda, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe. I think something like that.
Yeah, one of those as you say, golden doo-doos at people that got it for them.
That's right. That's what you collect in that game. Then I played Venba, which was one of the indie games, like debut indie games that was really breaking out this year. It's really short and really good. I can't really talk too much about it because it's literally like an hour and a half long. So if I say basically anything about the plot, it would be a spoiler. It's on Game Pass. Literally just go play it.
Yeah.
And then call your mom because it's going to make you want to call your mom. It's really, really good. It's sort of the premise of it is like reconnecting with your culture through food. And it's a really great story. It's really, really phenomenal.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
And then the last one I played, the 10th of a game, was the God of War Valhalla DLC. This is the only one I'm not going to be positive on because it is this should have been an email of DLC.
Wow.
Really? Because everybody online talks about it's like the greatest DLC ever made.
I understand why they're saying that, and it's because it has one Star Wars glup shitto asshole at the end of it that I think is probably causing people to pop off, and they're like, they did the thing, they brought in the cameo from the guy, because people love that dumb shit. But that's never done anything for me, so I just look at like the actual content of it.
Right.
And what it is that you're put into recycled rooms and you fight the same guys over and over and over again.
Yeah. It's a roguelike, right?
It's a roguelike, yeah. In very much the same way as the new, I don't think it's even out yet, but The Last of Us No Return, I think is what that one's called. I think that comes out like next. Is that with the remaster?
Yeah, it's with the remaster. Yeah.
Yeah.
At first, I
that's
thought
like
you were going to
February or
say
something.
factions for some reason. I'm like,
No,
that's
they
never
have two
coming
weird
out.
things going on.
Yeah.
But it's not good because the problem is the combat of God of War is serviceable. Like, it's good. It's not amazing or anything, but like, it's fine. But the concept of a roguelike is that every time you restart, you lose all of your powers. So every time you walk into it, you're starting at just like the lamest form of combat, and only by like almost the end does it start to get okay again. And so you're just spending it's again very short. It's like maybe 2 hours, but you're spending like 2 hours doing the worst version of God of War combat that it has been. And also, again, I won't spoil anything. There are plot things that happen in this that are very minimal. But several of them feel like they are directly antagonistic of fans of the original series.
So why do you say that? Well, is it really spoilery to say?
Not really, I guess. But there's basically like, there are characters who are like, hey, I don't even know how to describe it really. It's like they talk a lot about how Kratos used to be in those old games, in a way that is like, but that's stupid. Who would like that?
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
So they try to high horse us a little bit to get a little more
it's a lot of that. It really is.
So how long does an actual run take? Because I know to beat like the game, you got to beat it 6 times.
Yeah. So that's the tricky thing is. I never actually died in a way that was not relevant to the plot, because there are bits where you just like get reset, because the combat is really, really pretty easy. The runs are like maybe 15-20 minutes. Like, they're really short, especially the earlier ones, because you basically just like fight through a couple of rooms and then you fight a really bad boss that's recycled from before until the last 3, when you fight the same boss 3 times, but he's actually pretty interesting.
Okay.
That one is a spoiler.
So it's in other words, it's no Hades, is what you're telling us.
It's absolutely no Hades.
Okay.
If this game, it's free, and so that makes it okay.
Right.
But unless you are just like absolutely thirsty for literally any scraps that Sony
and they are, to be fair, our Who brothers are. Yeah.
Then like, this is not worth your time. It's
Gotcha.
really just not worth your time. Just watch the cutscene that comes at the end, and you'll have the whole thing.
I got you. So
also,
I'm going to give it a try, but I'd have seen some screenshots and photos, whatever of it. And I know, shout out to Hargeet, he hates photo mode, so I'm going to make sure I play it and take a ton of photos and send it to him.
It is very pretty. They add a couple of like settings that are really pretty. The other big negative I have from it is that it feels like it kind of finalizes Kratos' story in a way that makes me very worried that the next God of War is going to be a standalone Atreus game. And if that's the case, I'm just not going to play it.
That's actually I thought that was actually the whole fourth, like, I thought that was the whole point. I thought they're setting up for that anyway.
Yeah, well, it feels like they're doubling down on it. And I'm out. I'm telling you right now, I'm out. If that's the case, I will not play that game. I hate that boy.
Why do you hate Atreus? What's going on here?
Yeah, but you assume he's going to be a boy, though. I mean, they could easily time skip it and he could be a young man, you know?
No longer a boy. Man.
Then now he's man boy.
Man boy.
I just feel like God of War is
Man
Kratos.
boy.
And if you take him out, then it's just, you may as well have just called it a different thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
but the most exciting thing I did this week
what was the most exciting?
is I went for the first time to see AEW live. Baby.
Oh, wow. I saw you post that.
They finally came down to Texas. They don't do a lot down here.
Yeah.
I think we had like one pay-per-view before, but I couldn't get tickets to it. Because they like to slum it up in backwaters like Chicago a lot.
Yeah.
So
where the real wrestling fans are.
Well, I mean, y'all like CM Punk, so you clearly like don't have taste.
Didn't Tony bring him back to AEW?
They
first,
did,
though?
and then they realized it was a
sure
mistake and fired him. We all make mistakes.
They didn't want to. They didn't want to fire him. They knew he was.
No, they wanted to.
He was the best in the world. You know, coming from Chicago, what else could he be?
He used to be really good, and then he came back, and it turned out that he's just like not good in the ring anymore, and he's just just good at talking
Or
shit.
maybe it's just because AEW is not really that good.
There
though.
you go. That's my
Well, I
thinking.
think maybe it just made him look bad because the wrestlers in AEW are so good that like he
Mm.
was used to, slumming it with the losers who still work over in WWE who could never
Wow.
do it, who could never do any
I
of the moves
sense
that
a
they could do
bias
over in
here
AEW.
for Chicago
Yeah.
and WWE. I don't know what
I
that
know.
is.
Tell me
No,
about
I actually
it.
don't really mind WWE. It's just the thing with WWE is that it's very much like designed more like for children, if that makes sense, which I think is valid and fine. But I don't even think that's a bad thing. Like I genuinely am not saying that as a negative. It's just very PG, whereas AEW is just like the Attitude Era again, but with people who wrestle better.
Now I love that. I love the Attitude Era. So I remember you told me that before, and it made me.
Yeah,
tempted.
but the Attitude Era with people who are nowhere near as popular as The Rock, Stone
True.
Cold Steve Austin, Undertaker,
No,
Kurt
but I would
Angle, Chris
also-
Jericho.
I would also
Like, come
Chris
on now.
Jericho's
Come
literally
on now.
still there. So
Yeah, but
that's-
but we're talking Chris Jericho 2000, not Chris
Yeah,
Jericho
yeah.
of
So they're not as popular
2023.
because like people from your generation don't watch it anymore. And so you guys are more concerned with like, I gotta sign up for my.
I feel like he
He's
just called us
old as
old.
you.
Yeah, I felt like he just
He
called
just
us old.
as you.
You did.
But
Yeah,
for like people
Hashtag
whose knees don't
graybeard.
pop when we
There we
stand
go.
up.
that's no way to
uh,
treat a guest.
They're still.
Wow.
On behalf of Danny, I apologize, Rand, for his
I'm just
besmirching of our age.
Fine.
Ages.
It's fine.
No, look, there's a lot of really talented people from the Attitude Era. Obviously, that's like when people fell in love with wrestling. A lot of those people work at AEW now, though. Unironically, like Edge is over there, Jericho's over there.
Isn't
And a lot of
JR
people
over there?
who- JR is over there. He's
My
commentary.
God, he broke him in
Um,
half. I don't.
but
That's my JR.
A lot of the
Sorry.
people that they have over there are more
Stone
talented
Cold
in ring
Stunner.
performers
Yeah.
than what they had in the Attitude Era. And that's not because the people in the Attitude Era were bad. It's because like wrestling tech has evolved. Like people are just learning new moves and getting better and better at it.
You know what though? But
and-
I'll say this: I've seen some of the moves these guys do,
It's
and while they do a lot of technical stuff, it's just
crazy.
it just doesn't land the way that like the legends did it in the Attitude Era, right?
Okay.
And what I
mean,
mean by
you're
that is
right.
everybody's doing a super kick. It's like, okay, y'all taking
Yeah.
away the fun.
Well, the super kick's not a finisher anymore.
Yeah, I hate that.
Because it's just a straight kick. Like finishers have to be something that actually looks like it could put a person away.
But
the
those
super
super
kick is
kicks
just
from
not
Shawn
that
Michaels look like they put you down. And now
Yeah, but not anymore.
everybody's doing it like left and right, like literally throughout the match. Just kick, kick, kick. I see the Usos doing it like left and right. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, y'all getting on my nerves
Well,
now.
that's because the finishers have become so much more like intricate and interesting. Like watch a buckshot lariat from Hangman, and it's a whole thing,
I like the name of
right?
it. The
The
buckshot
idea
lariat.
of doing
Yeah.
doing just a straight kick as your finisher is
The
kind
funny-
of wild.
The
Like, you
funny
couldn't
thing
get
is,
away with being Big Show
Logan
and
Paul
just
does a
punching
better
guy.
buckshot lariat than Hangman Page, though.
He doesn't though.
Oh,
He totally does.
he
And
absolutely
he's
doesn't.
barely even a
He-
wrestler.
He's
damn.
he's surprisingly good. He's not Hangman.
Hmm.
He's just not.
You mean Hangnail Page? Jim Cornette would say.
Hangnail. Oh,
love
if you're
Jim
listening to Jim
Cornette.
Cornette, you're just out of touch. Like, you
What?
should not
I
be listening
love
to
Jim
that dude.
Cornette. No, he is hilarious.
Jim Cornette thinks people should still be living a kayfabe life. Like, it's like absolutely
But
not gonna work.
see, now we talked about this before, and I don't want to keep going on with this. I'm sorry, audience. I know some of you all don't watch wrestling like that, but I appreciate that he actually will try to keep up the facade of what wrestling is supposed to be. Like, oh, it's like us going around telling the kids, oh, Santa doesn't exist. He's trying to keep up with it. I can appreciate that.
Sure, but it's like everyone like
It's
did
real to
anyone
me,
ever
damn
really
it.
Did anyone ever really believe that the Undertaker was like an undead demon
Yes.
from hell?
Yes, I
Was
did.
that real for you?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
People.
When I was
yeah.
when I was
Yes,
a
I
kid,
did.
I absolutely believed it. Yes, I
Okay.
did.
Yep.
Maybe back before TV had color and you couldn't see. Maybe that's what it was.
So
Uh,
you lost me. You lost me when it went from F to E, because then they said entertainment. Damn it!
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
well, that was
out.
because Vince lost a match against the Pandas.
I know.
so-
I know. Yeah.
I remember that. The Wildlife Foundation. But so okay, but what else, Danny? Besides, so
Oh,
you had a
it
great
was-
time with the show, I'm taking it.
It was a great show.
Yeah.
Like it was just a episode of Dynamite, so it wasn't like a pay-per-view. They didn't do anything super crazy.
Gotcha.
But there was a John Moxley Swerve Strickland match that was absolutely popping off. Like those two are some of the best people wrestling right now, for sure, anywhere. So seeing them going at it was outstanding. We got a really awesome trios match between not the Lucha Brothers, but it's like their extended family and Top Flight. That was genuinely
Top
one of
Flight
the
security
coolest
of the
trios
world.
match I've ever seen. Like it's really good. If you've ever seen Penta and Ray Fenix go at it.
I haven't. No,
My man, it's so good.
I'm gonna have to take your word on it. I gotta check them out. I still haven't watched it, but yeah.
They're insane. I think they're probably among the best tag teams of all time, like for sure.
That's some high praise right there.
Yeah, and Ray Fenix wasn't in this match because he's out injured right now. But it was Penta, it was El Hijo del Vikingo. I don't speak Spanish well, and Commander, and they're separately like all AAA champions. Like they've all done amazing work down in Mexico, and now they're a team up here. They're doing great. Top Flight is young bloods, but they're really carrying their own weight in a way that I don't think anyone expected them to.
I liked your attempt at Spanish though. You like say
Well, I mean,
hablo
that's what his name is.
español.
It's Hijo. I think it's Hio.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Hio or Tio. Okay, I'll take you. Anyway, as for myself, I have been playing a ton of Final Fantasy 16. Actually, it was my most played game on PlayStation, and that's because I'm trying to get the rest of these trophies, and they're kind of buggy. Not buggy. They're annoying because they're like you have to really, really earn them. But other than that, and you can see it playing on the screen here. But let's move to the gaming roundup news, at least news roundup. And
it took us 45 minutes to get here.
Exactly.
We were talking a lot about
Before I
wrestling
actually
and
get to that,
esports.
let me read a few of these super chats to get this out. Tevin, shout out to Tevin. Thank you, brother, for the $10 donation. He says, great show. Appreciate it. Nintendo, the Iltaku, he drops a $5.
Here we go.
There you go.
He'll say something dumb about Nintendo, probably.
He says, it's a $5 donation. He says, reminder that Rand's favorite franchise is Pokemon and the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy
Jesus.
is mid.
Jesus.
Yeah, you knew it. You knew he was going to say something. Huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I know that the audience has been trying to get you, and even Jazz, to get you to play Pokemon. I've seen it.
I mean, I did play Pokemon for the kids.
Did
We
you?
raised like $800, and it was the worst gaming experience I've ever had in my life.
Damn.
Pokemon is a terrible franchise that is aimed at 10-year-olds that somehow a bunch of 40-year-old men still talk about. And
That's
be like,
exactly
"Think
like
back on it." It is
WWE. Sorry, what
It
was
is
it?
literally awful.
Listen, they got to catch them all. That that doesn't stop when you hit 40. You got to,
So Jess keeps on trying to come up with things like, we should do another charity thing. And I'm like, I'm not playing Pokemon. He's like, come on. And I'm like, no, not happening. I will die before I play Pokemon again.
Well, if
Wow.
if you do that hot chip challenge again, someone might die.
I
Apparently,
will never do the hot chip challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had our brother John Wolf. Shout out to John Wolf, who's also a half of Kay Asante's show. What is it called again, Kay?
Gamers Playground.
Indeed, Gamers Playground. So
Yeah.
John drops a generous $5 donation. He says, I heard that Factions 2 is being converted to Foam Stars 2.
Oh man.
Oh,
There's some
no.
slander here. Great show, brothers. Thank you, brother. And our other brother, Mr. Joanna Dark, drops a $1.99 donation. He says, COD campaign lasted longer than Factions 2. Damn.
Ooh. We got a Christopher Judge in the chat.
You all are going in tonight. We'll get to that soon, guys, by the way. Thank you guys for the donations. But let's get to this news roundup, Danny. And we'll try to keep the roundup. You might have to cut a few things, by the way, because
Yeah, I've been cutting the whole time because we were a lot longer on. What's a good word to say? Screwing around.
shooting the breeze. Shooting
What's
the
a
breeze.
nice way to say?
Yeah, we're shooting the breeze. That's all.
So first thing I got here is, hey, apparently Game Pass is not going to other consoles, at least not anytime soon. I have an interview here from someone called Jez.
Never heard of him.
I've never heard of him. I looked him up on Twitter. He posts a lot about beans. I don't know what's going on. But he seems like a cool dude otherwise. The big quote from this one is that it says, I'll start by saying we have no plans to bring Game Pass to PlayStation or Nintendo. It's not in our plans. But I think you hit on the right point of what it means to own an Xbox. The thing I want to be focused on is how do we continue to innovate for people who've made the commitment to our hardware platform? And how do we continue to make sure that they feel great about their investment in what we've built? So he kind of just doubles down on like, hey, Game Pass is in a lot of places. It doesn't necessarily need to be in those ones, at least not right now. So yeah, this was something from last week that we ended up not getting to because Game Awards were happening. But it's pretty big news, I guess, in that a lot of people were for some reason thinking that Xbox was like going to go third party by putting everything on their rival platforms, and that's not gonna happen, right?
At least not
I mean,
not anytime soon. I mean, who knows what happens? 10
arguably,
years from
they
now.
already are a third party. Yeah,
True, to
They
an
are.
extent, with like
They-
Call of Duty.
They're PlayStation's biggest customer, biggest developer right
Yes.
now with
That's
Call of
true.
Duty
Yes.
and Minecraft. I mean, come on.
And Minecraft. Yes, most people forget Minecraft. It is the juggernaut most people forget about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's been added to the MUAs for this past pickup, right? They got like 20 million added because of that.
Well, like Minecraft's monthly active users is something like 150 million just by itself.
It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
You know, so it's a juggernaut.
The fact that that game has grown to such an extent that like at Minecon Live or whatever it is, they're like, hey guys, we added armadillos, and everyone's like, what? Like, that's crazy.
Do you know who screamed and lost their minds? My 7-year-old daughter who voted for the armadillo over the penguin. Yes,
I still
they have them
so glad
all
it's,
on
like,
lockdown.
finding a
I'm
new
telling you.
audience.
I think
Yes.
but the ones that lose don't get added though. But I feel like they should add those anyways down the
Sure,
road.
yeah, they eventually will. I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll
I wonder if they,
they'll
like,
do
show up
that.
in later polls or whatever.
But you know, Minecraft's got some competition now.
Who's the
Lego
competition?
Lego Fortnite.
Oh,
coming
Lego
up.
Fortnite.
You know what?
Yes.
Fortnite trying to eat Minecraft's lunch.
So
the
believe
Lego
it or not,
Fortnite is actually really good.
believe it or not, I've never played Fortnite, but saw that and was like, I might try to play that. I'm
And
actually
I gotta tell
tempted.
you, it's actually pretty damn good. Like everything that they put into Fortnite, and this will get you, Umbra. Basically, they have Guitar Hero in Fortnite now,
Oh,
like fully in Fortnite now.
Speaking my language.
It is very good.
Yeah, you speak
It's
my
very
language.
very good.
I have to try it out.
They
Yes.
added,
Yeah.
in the last update, they added a rhythm game that was made by people from Harmonix, a
Mhm.
driving game that was made by people who made Rocket League, and the Lego game.
Mhm.
So they're just like, and they're all going to be like sub modes within Fortnite. Like Fortnite's going to be the launcher, but they're basically standalone games.
That's pretty impressive. I have to give them credit. Like seeing how they added the Rocket League thing and everything, and I played Rocket League maybe one time, but I shout out to Special Nick who that's the only game he ever plays, by the way.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I remember inviting him one time. I said, "Hey, brother, you want to join us in Halo?" He's like, "Sorry, mate. Playing Rocket League." And every time I see him on, that is literally all he plays. I'm like, brother, you gotta get you some, I don't know, touch grass on another
It's
game.
interesting that a couple of the studios that Epic owns,
Yeah.
Harmonix, and they're not actually, and the Psionics, I believe, is the developers
Yeah,
of
it's
Rocket
something
League.
like that.
That essentially they bought them, and they're not really releasing standalone games. They're just going to release games within Fortnite,
That's interesting.
which is a really interesting. But it's
Yep.
like that is what Fortnite is now. It is a gateway to other experiences, very much like Roblox, and Roblox makes a ton of money.
Mm.
It's definitely something new in the space. I'm sure what we saw, you all saw that Fortnite hit concurrent player numbers it never had before. I think it was like 12 million.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Bigger than
the
they've
OG
they've
season.
ever bigger than it's ever been. Partially because of the OG season and partially because of all these new modes. And then it's like, man, Epic. They just weren't sitting back on the money that they were making off Fortnite. They were thinking about the future. They were thinking about taking on other behemoths. Like, you know what? Let's not shy away from Minecraft. Let's build something where we could maybe compete with Minecraft and get that crowd, right? Let's
Well, you know what? You know what though, Rand? You know what though? It is interesting the timing of it because last quarter they announced that for the first time, and I think it was a combination of all the money. Like they said, the combination of the money they give to their creators for creating the in the creator mode, right? All the games they keep giving away, right? And all that combination, and the fact that the creator mode exists to make people play those interesting experimental modes has taken money away from Fortnite proper. Right,
course.
so
Yeah.
Less
well,
people
normal
buying-
Fortnite, that's right. Less people buying skins and things. Normal Fortnite was losing its luster, and then all of a sudden, bam! All these games that you bought are now within Fortnite. You know, it's almost kind of like this is the equivalent of that movie theater putting in the great seats and the Dolby Vision to try to get you back. You know, that's what they're doing here, and it's working because man, they really put some effort into it.
Yeah.
You know, we'll
I mean,
see
I
how
went
that
back-
translates into money.
I hadn't played like the last 2 seasons, and I went back into this new one, and
Yeah.
I was like, Peter Griffin, shoot, that's all I need.
Yeah, muscular Griffin. Come on, you did day
Oh,
one. Why
yeah.
not?
I saw him laid out on the floor doing a little
I love that that's just
I saw that.
Whenever you take out a player who's playing as Peter Griffin, he just does that, and it's
Mhm.
excellent.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And if you look at the price of how much they charge you for those extra songs in their version of Guitar Hero, and you know why they did.
100%.
They out for all the monies, all of it.
What else did we have though, Danny?
Awesome. So I don't know who here is going to be particularly a social space called The Neighborhood for players to enjoy music and engage in various activities, potentially with live service capabilities. So I mean that's basically everything. The only other thing here that they note is like Project Shaolin is likely to be an Xbox console exclusive because like no one can ever believe that a game's going to be exclusive to Xbox these days. Like they have to justify it every time. But yeah, what are the vibes on Project Shaolin?
So I'm going to just say this, and I'm sorry to say this to you, Danny. I didn't hear one word you said, and that's because OBS cut off like for a brief second, and while you were talking, and so sorry about that, chat. OBS is its own monster, unfortunately. So could you just quickly repeat that so we can hear what you're saying?
So Project Shaolin got some new information. All 9 members of Wu-Tang are going to be in it, potentially playable, and there's a new area in it called The Neighborhood where people can go and listen to music and do live service type stuff, apparently.
Well, I like the sound of that to some degree. I remember we were talking about this on Booms, and I was like, what would be the dope song to have playing on the menu? Remember that? I think yours was Cream, wasn't it? Or
It's
something
going to
like
be Cream.
that? Yeah.
No, well, no, I
That
said it
is
should
the
be
right
Cream.
answer.
I said it should
That
be
is the
Cream
right
for
answer.
for
Yes.
the trailer.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like it would just be really funny to be like, how was Xbox get the Wu-Tang game? And it's
Right.
like cash rules everything around me.
Yeah, you go. I just want to hear the that's what I want to hear. But okay. But no, listen. From the slums of Shaolin. But I'm hyped for that actually. I want to see what they do with it.
I need to see what the game actually is before I get like properly excited. Because if it's just some like very small game, then I'll still be excited, but like less so.
Yeah, you know what I would love if they had it in the vein of combat, at least like Def Jam. Did anybody remember Def Jam Fight for New York?
Yeah, 100%.
Of course.
Oh man, I would love that. That to me would be top notch if they went that route.
That is a genre that is a hidden genre that many of us remember fondly that has lost to time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hip hop in music, well, proper hip hop in gaming, not like backdrop music or whatever, but actually being a part of gaming. Like that was a very cool period. I actually, believe it or not, I emulate a lot of games for the purpose of playing those old things that no longer exist. Yeah.
Nice.
I think a couple members of Wu-Tang were in Def Jam. Method Man was for sure.
They were.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think
there's still a PS1 or PS2 game that I play from time to time. The 36 Chambers, which is basically a Wu-Tang game.
Yeah,
Really?
I forgot about that. I remember that.
Yeah, it's very, very. I mean, it doesn't hold up if you play it today, if you're used to today's graphics. But like, I still enjoy it. It still reminds me, I still play it from time to time. Yeah.
Didn't they also have like a weird fighting game that was like
That's
really
the game.
small time? Oh, that's the okay.
Yeah, 36 Chambers. Yep.
Gotcha.
No, but that would be dope. I'm actually looking forward to seeing it. I wonder if they'll be showing it this year, like in June or whatever. I do want to see what it looks like.
I need to see what the game is first. I don't really have any strong connections to Wu-Tang.
Yeah. What?
Mhm.
Wu-Tang is for the children.
That may be, but that's not something that I grew up with or around.
You know what?
So,
I'm glad you said that. What did you grow up listening to? Actually,
Yes.
I mean, I was
Hanson.
I was listening to like Q101, bro. I was an alternative dude. Nirvana,
Did you hear
Pearl
him?
Jam,
He said
Korn. You know,
He said Hanson.
He's slandering you, man. Get at it.
it's fine. It's fine. It's
Wow.
he's on this pedestal thinking AEW is the greatest thing ever. You know, like
It's
it's
really
perfectly
good, though.
acceptable.
It's really
It may
good.
be, but like when you're comparing it to WWE
Well,
Attitude
you have to
Era, they
understand,
don't
I'm
compare.
comparing it to modern WWE.
How old are you
Like, the
again?
Attitude Era was better. I'm
Danny's a
How old?
whippersnapper. He's a
Whip.
yeah,
It makes sense. It makes sense.
He's a young
But,
whippersnapper.
it's not as good as Attitude Era WWE, but it is better than current WWE.
I mean, I don't watch either, so I couldn't tell you.
Right.
Daniel,
but I did
in my
watch-
day, adults when adults were talking, children would just listen.
You shut your trap. You shut your trap. But no,
shut your mouth.
if you want to know what I was listening to in the 90s, it was Nirvana, Nine Inch Nails, Pearl Jam,
Okay,
Alice in
alright,
Chains,
Yeah.
Korn, Marilyn Manson, like all that stuff from like the 90s or whatever.
Some legends.
And then you
Of course,
threw in
shout
like
out to Pearl Jam.
Pink Floyd and the Who and Zeppelin, and all
Zeppelin,
that sort of
yeah.
stuff. I wasn't.
Mhm.
None of my friends. None of us ever got into rap, and really until
Mm.
Eminem came around.
That,
Really,
I am not surprised by the answer.
and then my
the great
and then my
mediator.
friends started getting like into like Tupac and stuff like that.
Okay, there you go. You saved yourself. Tupac is
Um,
that's
But
that's
I'm just
the
saying.
goat.
So,
He said you save yourself.
but I'm just saying. For me, I don't have the nostalgia
of hip hop.
of Wu Tang. So just hearing Wu Tang game doesn't mean anything to me.
I get you.
Right.
I get
So
you.
but
I would
that's
need
good
to see
though,
what
Ren.
the game is about.
Yeah.
Right?
The game it needs to elevate beyond the nostalgia or the brand recognition for it to be something special. So no, I mean, like your views on it will be super critical to this because many of us are biased. It
True.
is what it is.
Yeah, I'm biased for sure. As soon as I see I hear I don't know, the 36 Chambers or something, I'm like, I'm over. I love it. No, but I get you. But by the way, shout out to those bands too in Pearl Jam. I heard you shout them out. Chi-Town again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love them too. So I'm with you. And you know what's crazy? It's like the opposite for me and you, because I had the appreciation. Well, first we grew up on blues. My mother was playing blues and R&B and all of that. But I grew into hip hop, and then later, much later, into like rock and all these other stuff. So yours was kind of the opposite of mine. But now I sing some of these songs with the band, so that's the funniest part about it.
Nice.
But what else, Danny? What else do we have?
I'm gonna ask people here a question. Do you remember the first album you bought with your own money, not like gifted to you? One that you went like. For me, I walked into a what would have been at the time, maybe wouldn't have been a Target, maybe a Best Buy, and spent
Do you
your
remember the year?
hard-earned money. I think for me, I forget what year, but I do know what was my first album I bought with my own money. And it pissed off my parents because it had one of those explicit labels on there. And I believe they threw it out when they eventually found it. It was The Downward Spiral by Nine Inch Nails.
Oh.
Okay.
Do you guys remember what was your first album?
I
you
remember
purchased?
mine. I happened to be I was going to high school in Toronto, Canada at the time. It
Okay.
was cold. It was like sub 21 degrees, bubble jacket on, and I was listening every day to Me Against the World with Tupac. Every single day. I listened to that thing until it
Legendary.
turned purple.
Legendary.
Like every day. That's the first one. I mean, obviously, I eventually became a DJ and music, all that. So, but yeah, that was the first one I remember buying and holding in my hand. It was long disc. People, there used to be a thing called compact discs. It's
I know.
amazing.
We gotta explain it to Danny because he's just like, what? Discs? What are those?
Yeah, I was. Gonna
It
say,
started
if
with
you
too
asked
much
me for,
cardboard, and
CDs?
eventually the cardboard went away.
I was gonna say, yeah. If you asked me what my first album was, I was gonna be like, man, I grew up with iTunes. Like, I don't know.
He's like,
There you go.
Um,
There you go.
That was
Yes,
that was an
yes.
album.
I did
Photo
actually
album.
had some like maybe I don't know. I grew up with like CDs and stuff that were hand me down from like my sisters and stuff, but it wasn't anything
Mhm.
exciting.
Yeah.
I think I even had some cassettes. Like I had one or two, but they were like it was
What's-
like the Hercules
Well, yeah.
soundtrack.
I mean, I had cassettes. I had like Michael Jackson's Thriller on cassette or whatever.
Oh,
But like that stuff, like people bought for you. I was talking about
Yeah.
stuff that you spent your money.
For me,
Umbra, what about
iTunes
you?
existed before I had it.
What was the first thing you bought?
For
you
me,
remember?
now remember I was heavy into R&B, and so what I did is
Mhm.
I got something that was obviously going to appeal to the ladies. I got Drew Hill, their first album,
Hey now.
which was Drew Hill. So I'm up in there,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
yeah, I'm bumping "Tell Me What You Want" in my
That's
bed
right.
and all these, and oh yeah, I was laying it down thick.
Indeed.
Yeah, I was laying it down thick for her. I never make a promise, 5 steps, all these things just to make you.
5 steps. I'm sorry,
Hey,
continue.
take it away. I like that. I like that.
Eternity. No, okay.
We
Keep
were
it moving. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Anyway.
It's too
You know,
late.
it would
Anyway.
This is
be
the
how
show.
it would be the pinnacle of the show if myself, Danny, and you two as guests started singing 5 steps. I don't think any show could touch.
Oh,
this.
hell no.
I'm gonna work something out. I'm gonna work out something and send you the the lyrics for this one day, Rand and Danny. I have you guys singing background like 5 steps.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'll take on.
I'm down. I ain't
No,
afraid of
I won't do it.
I'll take on
I won't do it.
Cisco's part. You can take care. Kay, you can do jazzes or something. I don't know.
You no, let's not. No, let's go. I'm telling you, I know the whole thing. Let's go.
Hey, listen, me and the family sometimes we'll get together still, like for the holidays or whatever, and we will still come together, and eventually somebody busts out with 5 steps. and we'll
Oh
just
my
start
god.
singing it together.
You know, it's even crazy. I even remember my second album I purchased.
What's that?
First one
Please.
was Nine Inch Nails, Downward Spiral. Second one was Green Day's Dookie.
Oh yes. I
know?
think that may have been my second or my third. Yeah. Green Days. I played the heck out of that album. Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, so did I. It was just, but that was like, you know, the
Yeah.
what was that, early 90s, like mid 90s
Uh-huh.
or whatever.
Yeah,
I think
mid-90s,
right
yeah,
around like
I
8th
thought.
grade or 7th grade for me, when you actually start
Yeah.
like I want to have my own music that your parents, you know, so it's
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, I love both of those albums. Like Green Day's Dookie,
Yeah,
got some bangers on there.
that's a terrible album name, though. I have to say
It is absolutely yes.
That's a terrible
yes.
album name, but
Yeah.
no. shout out
And
to
for the
Green
kids
Day.
out there, those were the days when we used to play games like Crazy Taxi. You know.
Crazy Taxi.
And those were the days where MTV still played music on
I know, right?
Wow.
the good old days.
The
right?
M was for music.
Good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Back when cable existed.
Now it's for mediocre. But
Wow.
shout
Okay.
out to my brother Doovie. He donates a $2 donation. He says concept art. What a day. Can't make this stuff up. Yeah. Can't make it up.
Oh, for the blade thing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Let's try to Danny, what else do we have? Because I know we have to kind of get through
Yeah,
few
just
of
a
them.
handful. So I wanted to touch on these Insomniac leaks because apparently a group called Ricida, I don't know, something like that. Some notorious hacker group has broken into Insomniac and is ransoming back their information for $2 million, which, like, frankly, you can probably get more.
So that's actually what was going to be kind of one of the main.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. Go ahead and read that because I'll put it on screen now. So go ahead, read it.
It basically just comes down to they are threatening to leak a lot of the information about Wolverine, like potentially footage of it, as well as I think they specifically said other Marvel characters who are in it. And we also got, as part of the leak, a small like photo that's partially cut off of games that they're working on, one of which is apparently a Spider-Verse game. So,
Wow. Now, see, to me,
Mhm.
this is the thing. That didn't surprise me when I heard that about the Spider-Verse thing. Because
no.
if you remember, one of my complaints was they were quickly pushing Pete out of the way. And I
Yeah.
thought they were clearly trying to favor Miles. And I think that was to try to tie into the whole Spider-Verse thing that Sony has going on with the movies, because he's become like really, really popular. That seemed like the smartest way to go. Anyway, I think it's a lot of story potential there because you got so many different Spider characters you can bring in. So
Well,
that makes sense.
Didn't Insomniac confirm that they were going to retire Peter and the
did.
next and
They
have
said that it
so
would
this
be-
makes sense, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, my thinking on it was not that Spider-Verse would be the next like mainline game. I think Spider-Verse is a live service game because I think that makes
I
a lot
hope
of
not.
sense.
Interesting.
I
Of,
don't
like,
know.
make your
Sony
own Spider-Man.
Sony can't do live service.
They
They keep
can't.
trying though. They put out like two roguelikes, or about to put out a second one in February. And they're trying real hard to take over Bungie, which we'll talk about in a minute here.
Yeah. How many? It's like we're telling them, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? They don't
Yeah.
get it. I don't
So-
think it's
so-
for them.
So we think the Spider-Verse game is the game they're going to be doing instead of doing Spider-Man 3. They're going to do, or are they going to do a Spider-Verse game and a Spider-Man 3 and Wolverine?
I would think so. So Wolverine's next, obviously, and then I think the Wolverine team goes on to Spider-Man 3, and I think the Ratchet team does a Spider-Verse.
I mean, there's even teased
they
a Venom
sound-
standalone game though.
Yeah,
They did. There's a lot going on, but to be fair, they have put out like 3 games in 3 years, so like they are
True.
capable of getting work
Yeah,
done.
this is Insomniac. They are prolific.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, they did tease for anybody who did all the collectibles in Spider-Man 2. They did tease, a Spider-Verse thing at the very end. I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys did that or
They
not.
did.
But,
I
That
saw
was
it.
supposed to be a tease for the like for this game, but maybe.
well, I don't know if it's for its own game, but they did tease something Spider-Verse related. But I will I did
did.
see some of the Wolverine stuff.
Mhm.
What did
Man,
you
it
think?
is It is Wolverine of War, is it not?
It's definitely Wolverine.
It is
of War.
basically God of War, but instead of Kratos, it's Wolverine, huh?
Yeah, I think they need
Yeah,
to pull the camera.
the perspective.
It's
Yeah,
way
that
too
perspective.
close. Yeah, they need to pull that out a bit.
Yep.
Honestly,
That's my big
So-
complaint about.
So
the
in
God of War.
other words, what you're afraid you're gonna hear video that instead of says boy, it's gonna say bub.
I mean,
It's gonna be the same thing.
Come on.
I was kind of wondering where they were gonna go because it's like I guess you could do it and like pull the camera back, have Wolverine, who's a very hyper,
yeah,
he's very hyper aggressive,
hyper inferior.
right?
Yeah.
and he'd be like more of the combat, more like Spider-Man, where he's just going crazy, doing combos, like Devil May Cry-ish in my mind,
Something
kind
like
of.
that.
But I guess they're gonna slow it down, pull it back, make it more like God of War. I mean, I don't know. It's just my imagining from where the camera is. Maybe it changes, but it just kind of the criticism that is always leveled at Sony's first party is they essentially make the same games.
Right.
It's like Last of Us, essentially repeated over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So like seeing that the Wolverine stuff, and I'm just like, oh, so they're just making God of War with Wolverine.
Pretty much.
Right. I was just like, yeah. I mean, I'm sure I'd love it. I love Wolverine. I really like Insomniac, but
Yeah.
When I saw that camera stuff, I was just like, yeah, that's not what I would have done.
Yeah,
but whatever.
I
We'll
will
see how it
agree.
plays out.
I will agree. Now there have been some in case people are confused. Like you see Wolverine, you see Logan here with little lad shirt on. There had been somebody doing concept art. People thought that was actual screens. That was just concept art from some fan, I believe. But the actual shot shows Wolverine in costume and stuff like that. And much like you, I was kind of like, that's a little too close. They need to bring that out. Also, he looked a little too tall in there, and I'm like, I hope they're not going to the Hugh Jackman route because Wolverine is supposed to be a little short man.
Yeah, he's supposed to be short.
Yeah.
I have to assume that that's exactly my assumption is that they're going to do what was the most successful Hollywood version of
Old Man
Wolverine.
Logan.
I think they're doing Old Man Logan, but they're going to make him younger because that way they can drag out the franchise longer, make more money from more games. I really genuinely think that there is like a 60 to 75% chance that there is a very young X-23 or X-29.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past him. But then he had a son too. What's his name? Dakin, right?
Yeah, that's been going around in the Twitter space lately. I'm not familiar with that character.
Is it Dakin?
Like, at all.
Probably. I'm not sure. Daken. So Dakin or Dakin. But no, X-23 is clearly far more popular. And I actually do like X-23. So I'm not mad if that's the case. And he's old enough, Logan, that that could be the case that they can go that route. My thing though, it's like I feel the same way you do, Rand, but I will give Insomniac credit. I think they know what they're doing when it comes to combat. So I do expect them to do well. My concern though is they said, well, it's not rated this. It's going to be mature in tone. So how mature could it be? Because if anybody knows Wolverine doesn't just like cut you. He'll cut you up to pieces. He kills people. Wolverine literally murders people in the comics. Like he chops their heads off and limbs and all of that, and there's blood everywhere. He might have toned it down here and there, but
so
what's
Umbra,
up?
I would say let us make sure that we hold them to account and keep them to that standard that last Wolverine game set by Raven, if you recall.
Absolutely.
Right. If it's not that Raven level of gameplay, I will be disappointed because yes, that game is a little weird and all of that, and it wasn't perfect. It's a game of its time, but that game had some very special parts to it. And as well as I do that Insomniac could knock it out the park if they are allowed to go full bore. So
I agree.
hopefully.
Oh, I'm sure this game will be good no matter what it is. The only question would be like, is it fresh enough to hold my interest? You know what I mean? Because like Insomniac consistently makes good games.
They do.
That's not a concern of mine.
Right.
I don't know. Umbra had some bad things to say about Spider-Man 2. I saw on Twitter.
I had some
talking
things.
about like certain story-related decisions. You weren't very kind.
You know what? I love the game overall, but after thinking on it more, I was at an 8.5. I'm at an 8 now.
Dropping.
Okay.
It's dropping more, and it's because, and I guess it's probably because the people I'm debating online and the points they're trying to make makes me think harder and makes me think like, you know what? I really did not enjoy that. I'm going to take a point off because I don't see why I'm giving it an 8.5. I really don't. And I think it's an 8, which is still a great score, but I had a lot of issues with some of the story elements and how they approached it. And I won't go too far with it because I don't want to take us too off topic, but I just didn't care for it. But I would say for this, I hope that it's, it's very visceral. He's not neutered in a way. And the problem, and it's the same fear I have, by the way, for Blade. because Blade is like that. Blade, he kills the vampires. It should be a mature thing. Are they going to be neutered by Disney? And I think Disney has kind of Disneyfied Marvel in a way, and I'm afraid that's going to happen here and with Blade. I'm being honest as I can. So, but I do want to read this though. So Insomniac Games, I know you read a bit of it. Insomniac Games has suffered a ransomware attack. Leaking employee personnel information and future game plans has been revealed. First spotted by Cyber Daily, the ransomware hacker group, that's what you were saying, Residia, has posted proof of claims that they've hacked Wolverine developer Insomniac Games. As proof, they posted the images, like you said, and the employees and ex-employee personnel data. And I'll skip ahead. It says that they are giving them 7 days to make an undisclosed payment before the data is made public. The group, however, is also making a public auction. Oh wow! On it, I didn't even know that part. On its website for the data, which states at around $2 million in Bitcoin. So it says the website reads, with just 7 days on the clock, sees the opportunity to bid on exclusive, unique, and impressive data. It continues, open your wallets and be ready to buy exclusive data. These dudes are brazen. We sell only to one hand, no reselling. You will be the only owner! ! These dudes are brazen. You gotta have some adamantium balls for this.
How do PlayStation Studios always end up getting hacked?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Listen,
I don't know.
their whole network has been shoddy. We've known that for
I mean,
decades.
Insomniac, Naughty Dog.
Yeah,
What's going on?
I don't know. That's a good question. But
And to be so brazen, it means you have all your ducks in a row. Like, because if you come out there and you talk a lot of that ish and you don't have your ducks in a row, they're gonna come for you, and there'll be nowhere you can hide.
Yeah.
You know, because this isn't Microsoft, but they are still very capable. They can come for you. So the fact that these guys are so brazen tells you that they know what they're doing. It's kind of crazy.
Absolutely.
I want to say something here, and it's kind of console war-y in a way, which is something I don't normally do, but it is kind of funny. I'll say, can we get those guys to hack Sony so they can deliver us Sony's first-party roadmap?
But
that's coming in the secret showcase, obviously.
Yeah, the secret showcase.
Any day now.
Give us the beta for factions too. Yeah. No, that's crazy. No, I agree with you though that it is insane how they keep getting hacked like this. I know Microsoft they suffered one, but we talked about that before. It wasn't that they so much as suffered as they had the people who went in to test it on purpose, right, Danny? It was something like that night.
Well, so yes and no. So this was like a ransomware attack, basically, this Insomniac one, where they're like, hey, we're gonna ransom you back your data. We've taken it. If you want it back and you don't want it to go public, we're gonna ransom it back. The people who hacked Microsoft, they were like, hey, we have your data. Here's the breach. We'll fix it for you if you pay us. So it was more like the Microsoft hack was like that guy who comes by your house and is like, I see your car's dented. You want me to fix that? Whereas the Insomniac hack is like someone took your car and is like, you want this back?
So the Microsoft one, you can call them security researchers. That's what they do. They run around hunting for, like, what they call it. What the hell do you call it? When they put a pot together to say, hey, whoever can hack it gets this pot. Gotcha. Right. So they walk around, white hat hackers, black hat hackers, they do it illegally. White hat hackers do it for the purposes of finding breaches so that the companies can solve them. Gotcha. So that's literally what was done there.
Yeah, I remember something along the nature of that. They, because I first read it and I was like, whoa, how many terabytes? But then I saw it. I was like, okay, they're purposely testing their networking and such and security. Okay. But yeah, that is crazy. What else, Danny? And we could move into the Insomniac bit now. How about that?
Yeah, let's just do Insomniac.
Yeah. So I'll let you take it away. Did you have it already ready, or I could read this first if you want?
No, yeah. I mean, the only Insomniac thing I had was the hack. Did you, or the hack in the Spider-Verse thing? Did you have more?
Yeah, that's really it. Let me switch the image over. All right, there we go. Excuse me. Get my thespian voice up. An update on The Last of Us Online.
Oh, that's
oh boy.
That's Naughty Dog. That's why I was confused.
Yes. I apologize. We realize many of you have been anticipating news around the project that we've been calling The Last of Us Online. There's no easy way to say this. We've made the incredibly difficult decision to stop development on that game. Wow. Who saw that coming? We know this news will be tough for many. I urge you, especially our dedicated The Last of Us Factions community, who have been following our multiplayer ambitions ardently. We're equally crushed at the studio as we were looking forward to putting in your hands. We wanted to share with you some background of how we came to this decision. The multiplayer team has been in pre-production with this game since we were working on The Last of Us Part 2. That is a long time. Crafting the experience we felt was unique and had tremendous potential. As the multiplayer team iterated on their concept for The Last of Us Online during this time, their vision crystallized, the gameplay got more refined and satisfying, and we were enthusiastic about the direction in which we were headed. In ramping up to full production, the massive scope of our ambition became clear. To release and support The Last of Us Online, we'd have to put all of our studio resources behind supporting post-launch content for years to come. Duh. Severely impacting development of future single-player games. I mean, didn't they know that, though? Like, I don't understand that statement.
Yeah.
So we had two paths in front of us: become a solely live service game studio, or continue to focus on single-player narrative games that have defined Naughty Dog's heritage. We are immensely proud of everyone at the studio that has touched this project. The learnings and investments in technology from this game will carry into how we develop our projects and will be invaluable in the direction we are headed as a studio. We have more than one ambition. Ambitious brand new single player game that we're working on here at Naughty Dog, and we cannot wait to share more about what comes next when we're ready. Until then, we're incredibly thankful to our community for your support throughout the years. Wow. So, gentlemen, again, who didn't see that coming?
PlayStation
I
guys?
think that's a very stupid excuse too. I don't buy it. Like, I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
How much pre-production do you go all the way in to then realize, oh, I need to continue supporting this live service game, a thing that I have ambitions to break into, that everyone has been doing, that you have seen being done over and over and over again in this industry, over and over again, watching other platforms fail left and right in the same exact genre. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, well, we got on the pot and we decided that maybe it wasn't a good idea to sit down and, do what we do. Yeah. Instead, we're going to step away. Like, come on. I don't know. I don't buy it. It seems like a too clean of a reason for it. Because if that was the case, you would have made that decision a long time ago and not wasted so many people's time.
I agree with that. I'll add to that too. Like, they had the whole scapegoat of, Bungie said it wasn't ready for prime time. But these guys sound like they weren't ready for prime time. So what's the problem here? Now, I'm going to say this too, and I know, a little tinfoil headery. We had the whole speculation of why Jim Ryan was suddenly leaving. And many of us, and I still believe, many of us still believe that he was really let go and they just moved on, but they did it in a nice way. Gave out little Jim Ryan
cookies. He was retired.
Cookies. Yeah, he was retired.
Yes.
They gave out little Jim Ryan cookies and all of that, and had him smile and everything, and he gave off one of the lamest excuses I think I can remember of somebody in that position. Oh, I just got tired of traveling. Logically, you could say that. I can agree that you can logically say, I'm tired of doing this thing and moving around and I don't get a chance to rest, etc. I can get that. And I'm not saying this is true. This is tinfoil headery, so I don't want anybody getting it. Oh, listen to this idiot. But I'm thinking, like, you see stuff like this. You see the lack of the roadmap. You see a lot of these issues at hand with Sony lately that I don't think they had during Sean Layden's era. And it starts to paint a picture that Sony looks a little off in how they're trying to approach their games moving forward. I mean, we see about the 12 games that they had in service now cut to 6. You have more third-party investment that they already announced that they're going to be aiming for outside of First. Rand, what would you say? Like, what's your thinking on the whole situation? Do you think, tinfoil headery, of course, that there's some type of just tinfoil? Do you think it might? Some
first I'll say, like everybody else, we all knew this was coming. Mm-hmm. From that first Jason Schreier report of being like the team sort of being pulled apart and being put into other teams that were making the single player stuff, and the game was kind of on ice.
Right.
Projects don't come back from that. You knew it was canceled.
Yep.
But I agree with it. Naughty Dog seems to get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to the decisions way more than any other studio. Like if this is any other studio that did this, that okay, we're having the multiplayer mode for Last of Us Part 2, and they promised it, and then like it's coming later and its own thing, and then you actually announce it and show some concept art only for that to be canceled. And now you have a lot of people celebrating it because, oh, we're going back to our roots, our single player. I feel like the media gives Naughty Dog a lot of rope, and they're not really held accountable because you have games like Halo Infinite. Like Halo is expected to launch with a single player and a co-op and Forge and multiplayer. And if they miss in any sort of those things, people are screaming at the top of their lungs, right? But like Naughty Dog is just perfectly fine. I do feel like the idea of like, well, we had two paths. We could either do A or B. But it's like, what about path C or D? What about path C being like, what if you hire the people you need to support your vision of live service? Why don't you invest in the studio so you could do more? Because I look at a studio like Respawn, who makes one of the biggest live service games out there in Apex Legends, and yet they're still somehow able to release two incredible single player experiences in Star Wars the Jedi franchise. How's that possible? How's Respawn able to do a live service that takes a ton of resources, but then also make two single player games as well? Are they just magicians? Or is the leadership at Naughty Dog just not cut out to be able to do that sort of thing? So I sort of feel like the scenario of like it was either this or this, kind of to be a little bit of hand waving away to explain to their user base to get them excited about, oh, we're actually going back to single player, so this is actually a good thing, wink wink, right? Like this is what you want. So now people are like, yeah, you know what, this is for the best. And like, okay, I understand if like you didn't think this was gonna pan out, okay, yeah, dump it, start over. But I sort of have a feeling like you probably had that idea before Bungie even came in. Or let's even talk about the idea of like, if you're releasing a multiplayer thing, why does everything have to be this 10-year plan, live service thing? Why couldn't it just been, here's a cool multiplayer mode, we're adding value to Last of Us Part 2, or adding value to The Last of Us remake or remaster, and it's just a multiplayer mode for you to have fun in. You're not expected to play it for 10 years. It's just, we don't get that stuff anymore because everybody looks at Fortnite's revenue and Apex's revenue and they're like, we want that, but not everybody's going to be able to do that. So I sort of feel like some of the explanation is a cop-out. Like it was either this or this, when there are examples of other studios who can do it. And then it's like, but you could have just released it as a regular mode, a regular multiplayer, not with the expectations of the live service, and then moved on to do your single player games. You know what I mean?
Isn't that technically what was already there, which they took out when they made the remake?
Yeah.
A cool multiplayer mode that people could just had fun in, that everybody said was awesome.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Right? So you're very right. Absolutely. Yeah.
But then there's all of Sony's whole mandate of live service.
Right.
Which doesn't look like it's panning out. I mean, we were told they literally bought Bungie, spent almost $4 billion on Bungie to be the shepherds of their live service strategy, only to find out, hey, Last of Us Factions wasn't good enough, canceled. The Deviation game wasn't good enough, canceled. Right? They're having their own problems hitting their own revenue targets, so they had to lay a whole bunch of people off, so Sony didn't come in and take over the board completely. So you put your whole like live service plans in the studio, which it's funny because Jez, when this all went down, Jez says you're going to regret giving Bungie that much power. And it certainly seems like, because now this is time wasted. This is how many years wasted on Last of Us that could have been put to use in a new game. How much money has been invested by PlayStation into the live service push? I know you mentioned the 12 live service games, but 6 of them are canceled. They haven't been canceled, they've just been delayed, right? But how much money? They invested more money into this live service thing than they did single player. And part of the reason is when they look at Sony's financials, the one thing everybody points to is, their margins are super slim. Yeah. They may make a ton of money, but they ain't making a lot of profit. And part of the reason for the live service push is because games cost so much. but they're selling to the exact same people they've been selling games to because the console market has not grown. And Sony is unwilling to go to PC day one. They're unwilling to go to mobile because their business model is strictly still console, right? But expenses are piling up, and the revenue is sort of kind of just the same. So what do? Well, you can raise the price of the games, which they did. You can find alternate revenue streams, which they have been with PC, but later. And it's like, well, no, we need our own multiplayer games. We need our own hits. We need our own Fortnite. So you try to do this, but it's incredibly difficult because you're coming to the market extremely late. Everybody's already situated in. Everybody's carved out their niche. So you need to come with the product that is exceptional, right? And you think Bungie, because they were the stewards and because they've done it extremely well, that they could provide this knowledge. And it's like, that may not be the case. So how much time has been wasted? How much money has been wasted? How many of these live service games are ever going to come out? How much is this going to impact PlayStation's first-party studio output for the foreseeable future? Because this isn't the 360 and PS3 gen where you could turn around a new game in 2 years. Games take 4, 5, 6 years now. So you might be looking at Naughty Dog not releasing a new game the entire PS5 generation. They may completely skip it simply because they spent so much time on the Last of Us factions, and by the time they were done, well, our next game is going to be 4 or 5 years, and that's already time for the PS6. So they just completely wasted. And then you look at all the other things, Connie Booth leaving, all the other stuff. I saw Post-Up's tweet about all the things that have been going wrong in PlayStation. It's kind of like, and then you compare it to Xbox, who literally just bought a publisher, big on live services. So now Xbox owns established live services. They don't have to go and create any, even though Blizzard will. And you kind of look at it and you're like, I wonder who has the better strategy.
Clearly.
For the future. I don't know how it's all going to play out, but it is, Jim Ryan pieced out before all this really came crumbling, like before his competitor got ABK
Right.
and before any of these live service stuff came and probably crashed and burned. Like he's
almost like he knew something,
later,
right?
He
knew something was about to happen.
That was something I was saying whenever he left, is that I feel really bad for whoever is going to end up officially taking over for him, because they're going to get blamed for all of this, and none of it's going to be their fault.
It's kind of like the way you put that is funny, because I remember so many of our Hoot brothers giving so much credit to Jim Ryan. Oh, he did this. He got the money. Like, he's the money man, right? But it's like they tried to put off creativity and the creative side of what Sony was doing at the time on him, when it was really Sean Layden that deserved that credit. Now we're seeing it's like and I don't want to bring politics into it too much, but it's like Obama then leading to Trump, and people like, oh, Trump did this. It's like, no, that's from Obama's last tenure in his administration. This is the same thing here. And people were reaping the benefits from what Sean Layden did with their studios creatively. And now you have Jim Ryan, who was the money man, and you can see his aim and the goal for Sony was vastly different, and it was all set to do this live service thing to bring them more money. But now it's crashing and burning, because, as we all know, typically most of those types of live service games, they fail. So I don't know if they thought that through,
Well, they definitely didn't, because I know that Destiny is one of the games that is like really popular and is successful in terms of like finding a big audience and being able to survive. But man, Bungie doesn't make money. Like, they've never made money. That's the one thing that they have not been successful in doing. When we saw the paperwork for why Xbox didn't end up buying Bungie during the FTC leaks, it was because they have a high burn rate of cash, and they burn almost as much money as they make. Like, their profit margins are extremely low. And so I always thought it was really funny to see that PlayStation was like, hey, we want you to come in and do the thing that you have not been historically very good at doing for the rest of our teams. Like, we want you to be the guys who can do that. But then also at the same time, this new news has been coming out where it's like, now they're setting these like extremely high sales goals or whatever for them. And if they don't meet them, then they're going to take over the board. And in order to try and hit those goals, they're cutting all the people who made Bungie successful in the ways that they were successful. And so by the end of this, if PlayStation does end up winning over Bungie to take over their live service push that's already not looking particularly great, what they're going to end up having is the sign on the front of an empty building because everyone who mattered to that company is going to be gone.
So
'Cause
Bino.
people have already been fired, and then on top of that, we're hearing all these reports about like, oh, the morale there is soul crushing. Like people are quitting. Like people don't want to be there right now because it's a bad place to work right now.
So Daniel, can I offer a Daniel McGee special, which is a hot take?
I'm always hot.
Pause.
Sorry, you cut me off on that one. That was crazy. Anyway, this is what I would if I was listening to this and Daniel was speaking, he would say something like this, which is, let's keep the same energy. When ABK was the talking point on everyone's lips, the talking point was, come on now, they spent X amount of money. Why can't they do with what they need to do with the purchase they made?
Yeah.
Right. In the same token, on this side, I say, same energy, ladies and gentlemen. You didn't meet your targets. They spent money on you. They have every right to do with you what they will, Bungie, because technically they own you. Like
I
this
agree,
whole
but
the takeover.
result of
They
it.
took over when they signed the dotted line. It was a wrap already.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I agree with that. I think you're right. Is the thing is like you're really smart and right like all the time. the other part that I want to
It's a superpower
add to
of
this
his.
though.
Yes.
No, stop it.
I really hate that about you. But the other aspect of this that I want to bring in is just like who's setting those goals, right? Because you're setting these goals and then they're not meeting them. And then the result of them trying to meet those goals is them making it a terrible place to work and firing all the people that you paid extra money to like have tried to be kept around, right?
Yep,
So it's like your own plan is backfiring on you immediately. Like,
and by the way, I have no sympathy for Bungie, because if you look within the historical like back and forth of Bungie themselves, yes, they are behind the 8 ball here, but whenever they have the opportunity to, they really skewer their employees. They are not like the leadership has not been doing right. They haven't been doing good to their people. I actually know a person on the infrastructure side that used to work for them, and he didn't have great things to say. Like they are not kind to their employees, right? It's one of those small company energies where when everything's going great, family. The minute that they need to cut you, they will like cut you like like they didn't know you yesterday, and it's very, very bad the way they've been handling.
If you want to see proof that what Kay is saying is 100% true, Bungie devs are famous for going on Glassdoor after they've been let go or quit and just burning the house down, just dropping that bridge off the ravine, right? Like,
what's interesting?
It is never a clean break.
You know who doesn't suffer from that? Microsoft. Typically, they're reviewed pretty well. But
Microsoft's reviewed as like the best place to work.
They are
recently.
Throw it out there. Extra salt to our Who brothers out there. Sorry, I had to do it, but yeah. So we're about at an hour. We're about 30 minutes before we hit the 2 hour mark. Just about a little bit past it. Actually, 8 minutes past.
I actually do have something to add about this.
Okay.
I wanted to say a lot of the journalists I follow seem to be really excited about this, that they're going back to single player. And I feel like that announcement in there about it's either A or B, and we chose B, and we're going back to single player, I think is why a lot of the journalists aren't so critical, because they didn't want multiplayer anyways. That they're all strictly about single player. So like for them, when they see this announcement, they're just like, well, this is what I wanted them to do. I never wanted multiplayer anyways.
This is them riding the ship, is what you're saying.
So this is like, this is for the journalists. It's like, they're not going to, I'm sure Jason Schreier could come up with an interesting article about what really happened here, but you won't see like the really super negative PlayStation articles come out, because I think this is exactly what those people wanted out of this. They didn't want Naughty Dog to spend all this time making a multiplayer game. They wanted them to go back to making the single player stuff that they love, right? Like Last of Us Part 2 is like a 94 Metacritic, and Last of Us 1, like people love that. Like the journalists love that stuff. Yeah. And so like, because I don't know, like I feel like if this was any other studio, they would be getting just torn down right? Not so much like the
Yep.
Xbox versus PlayStation stuff, where of course the Xbox guys are gonna go at the PlayStation guys because it's Naughty Dog. Remember, this is supposed to be the best studio in the world, but they couldn't do it, right? You're obviously gonna have that stuff, the back and forth between the fandoms or whatever. But it's interesting to see some of the reactions from the journalists. They're like, "Well, yeah, this makes total sense. Like, what did Sony think? Like, blah blah blah," because they all feel like single player is the way to go because they all haven't really understood how the market's shifting and changing. They still think console sales are 100% indicative of, a company's
So health.
health.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They're still stuck in that mindset, and to them, it's all about single player. So to see this,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, anybody I follow is just they're all sort of like kind of happy, and nobody's really saying like how, like, you wasted all this time and this money, and but it's all just like, all right, go back to single player. We love it. That's great.
Now, are you talking about others like as far as content creators, or are you talking about like?
No, I'm
fans?
talking more about like journalists.
Gotcha.
Journalists.
You know what
you know?
though? I think that goes into some of the talk we talk about the Xbox tax and how the media. And I'm not trying to dive into that. I'm just simply saying I think it goes into how the media looks at things when it concerns Sony versus how they look at things when it concerns Microsoft and Xbox. They look at Sony more favorably and would be like more forgiving towards stuff like this, where it's like shows like glaring incompetence. But if Microsoft did it, they would not be so kind, I don't think.
Well, and I almost feel like it's hurting PlayStation that they do that. Earlier, Rand, also very smart and good at things.
Absolutely.
We need to bring dumb people
No,
on
not
here
me.
so I can make
That's
fun of them.
Asante. He's smart and good at things.
But earlier he said, they give Naughty Dog and by extension a lot of the PlayStation studios a lot of rope, and the problem is now they're hanging themselves with it, where it's like they've never felt like they needed to correct or improve or do better, because every time they did anything, their mom and dad were there clapping for them, right, being like, "Oh yes, honey, you've done amazing," when like they've been messing up
Hercules.
things constantly, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Xbox is getting dogged on like day in day out, and we're seeing them making a lot of improvements, and they're still not really getting the credit for the improvements that they're making, but they are making a lot of improvements, and they still obviously have problems.
Yeah.
But they're making a lot of improvements that I'm just not seeing PlayStation making that same effort. I'm not seeing them improve the places that they need to improve. I mean, the one area where I would say that they tried was by doing the live service stuff. I think they do need more multiplayer stuff. I think they do need more live service stuff. But they like flipped a switch and they're like 60% of our budget's going live service. And it's like, you can't do that. None of your teams don't do that.
Right.
Look, honestly, Rand, Daniel, I appreciate what you're saying. Like, I just think that they see the coming change, right? And for some reason, and it's very interesting to watch the first place finisher basically crank his neck all the way back to see what the third place finisher is doing and try to mimic that, right? It's super interesting to see. I kind of get where they were going. I get where white shirt guy, Mr. Retired
white shirt guy.
Mr.
What's
Mr.
messed up is
man.
I knew who you meant when you said it. That's the funniest part.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
I get where he was going. It's just they kind of caught on a little too late, and I think the problem here, honestly, and I hate to say it, but it's possibly the fans are too rabid and people listen. The business listens to them too much because they should have pivoted a long time ago. Instead, they were very busy listening to, oh, well, we need to keep our plastic box making you feel special, so we're just going to keep it here. And now it's a little too late. They're very militant about it. You know what I mean? Like,
do you hear
way
that,
back when
brothers?
Microsoft was...
You all are your
when
own
Microsoft
downfall for your company here.
Seriously, seriously, that's literally what's happening, right? Like, when Phil Spencer was saying, well, there goes all the exclusives, people were like, oh, and then everybody else was like, is it on Game Pass? Yeah, okay, yeah, cool, peace, right?
Yep.
And that was it. And because they've been so solar focused on, we sell you a box, we give you the games, you buy our games. And that's the way, because they choose to make it the way. They're now behind the 8 ball. It's their fault.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
There's this tweet I wanted to read.
Go ahead, Rand.
From a developer. He's a principal game designer at Firesprite Games, but previously worked at Naughty Dog and Team 17. He says, absolutely gutted, and gutted for all the awesome people I work with on this. I learned more in this project than any other in my career and had more fun playing this game than any other multiplayer game before and since. But it wasn't good, you know? So this guy is saying that this was the best multiplayer game he's ever played.
Wow.
But It's canceled. Not coming out.
I genuinely think it would have been good. I don't know if it would have found.
Oh,
like, a
I'm
huge
dude.
audience
I mean, The
survive.
Last of Us multiplayer, or The Last of Us. Like, I have issues with the story in Last of Us Part 2. I hated it,
I agree.
but the gameplay, tight.
Solid.
I think it works. I think it would make for an excellent multiplayer game, which it did in Factions, right?
The
Like
first
the
one, right.
original.
Yeah. Yep.
But I'm seeing this, and I'm seeing this guy be like, it was the best multiplayer game I've ever played, and it's kind of like, well, why the fuck isn't it coming out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? If it was that fun to play, are we really just in this thing where it's like, it has to be a 10-year plan, and it has to make Fortnite money, and it has to do this, and it has to do that, otherwise we're not doing it? Like, it can't just...
I wouldn't put it past Sony if that is their thinking. I think we look at some of these own or publishers and such over especially overseas. You look at Square, you look at Sony. I think some of their intentions of how they look at things, not only is it not fully realized when it comes to stuff they're not used to, such as this, but they also have unrealistic expectations. I think I've come to find with them. Square is a prime example where they like, oh, we expected it to make $9 billion. It came up, $8.5 billion short, so it's over with. But the thing is, I think, again, I think it's a lack of foresight, a lack of general knowledge when it comes to this. I don't think they have the right people in place for it. And I think they thought we just put it out there because we're Sony, people will come, and then I think they ignored that many of their studios, like you were just saying a minute ago, they wanted to keep it single player. They didn't want to go to doing something like this. They wanted to make the games that they've always made and that they love. And I don't think live service is what they want, and that's why it's backfiring the way it is. But to move on, and great thoughts, everybody. Thank you for that. To read a few super chats, Risk It for the biscuit, my brother, Australian brother. He gives us a $7.99 Australian dollar due. He says, "Is Rand having a 6-hour show this week?" Asking for Xbox Independence view numbers. Also, Rand, did you forget something? If he says, and laughing, I don't know.
I don't think I forgot anything, but I will say we are starting late tomorrow. Risk It. So Jez has family coming over, so we are delaying the start of Xbox 2 by 2 hours. So Xbox 2 tomorrow will start at 5 Eastern.
Okay, so 4 Eastern, 4 Chicago. Okay, so
4 Chicago, and we usually do a 4-hour show, so that's ending at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
If we do, I don't know how Jez is going to be tomorrow because he's in the UK and he's got family around. So yeah, I know for sure we are starting 2 hours later than normal. But I don't think I've forgotten anything.
Yeah, Risky, could you elaborate in the chat what you mean by that? Did you forget anything? Maybe he made a bet. Did you make a bet with him or something like that?
Nah, I don't really make any bets with people. I bet Clowns that Blade would be exclusive because he already lost his money about Starfield and now he wants to lose his monmoney about Blade. So
shout out to Clowns.
I'll take his money.
Yeah,
again.
I saw people getting on Clowns, by the way, who was kind of like, I didn't want them to make Blade, and this is not the hero they should have gone after. Listen, to his credit, I wanted the X-Men. Before Insomniac got Wolverine, I wanted the X-Men because that included Wolverine. I thought that would have been poetic in a sense, and I've been calling for that for years, since the 360 generation. But I am not mad at getting Blade. I'm more than happy. Over the hill, in fact. Another $2.99 due donation from Risk It. He says, Umbra, why your moderator's blue? Do you neigh?
Jeez.
Wow.
That must be like the pony version of do you bleed? Do you neigh? So Nintendo the Otaku drops a $5 donation. Thank you, brother. He says, oh crap, what did I just do?
Something about Nintendo and how amazing they are.
He says Nintendo, the only one with compelling. You were right.
Got him.
He said the only one with compelling, best-selling, highly rated single-player games and equally amazing multiplayer games. They want to be Nintendo. Talk your stuff, God. Nintendo. Talk your stuff, man. I'm not mad at you. Since you donated, I'm not going to say anything negative. And Yodani Kuzada, one of our mods, thank you, brother. He drops a $2 donation. He says it makes it easier to not ask SIE the hard questions. Absolutely. And I think that's part of the problem. Maybe part of the coddling they got has made them soft. You see, they're the potatoes of the gaming. They get soft as they get boiled in hot water. But Xbox is the egg. they get harder once they go under pressure. You see what I mean? So we are the eggs of gaming, guys. I just made that up on the fly. I'm kind of proud of myself. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Talos. He said, have a great show, Daniel, myself, Rand, and Kayasanti. The chat, I have to split. All right, thank you, Talos, for being here, brother. Yeah, guys, in the chat, if you have not done so, I didn't even ask throughout this time because I was just enamored by the conversation by these greats here. If you have not done so, please hit the like button, as Dirt would say, and consider subscribing. We would appreciate it. Let's move to the final topic. I'll just kind of skip ahead. I'm going to ask a quick question, and I'll show it on the screen, and then I'll move into the actual topic and kind of get through that as briskly as we can because it's about to be 2 hours now, 2 hour mark in 10 minutes. So as far as the Game Awards, because I did want to do like a Game Awards fallout, I'll ask individually, what were you guys' favorite, and you got to name a different trailer that was shown or reveal. So I'll start with you, Kayasanti. What was your favorite reveal during the Game Awards?
Ooh, my favorite reveal? That's
favorite
tough,
reveal.
man.
Only one.
Favorite. Yo, that is difficult. Can you come back to me? I gotta think. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Favorite reveal, huh?
Yeah, I'll start with you.
Wow.
Does it have to be like something brand new?
Well, just
or can it just be anything from the show? Anything from the show?
Yeah, anything from the show. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm going with Hellblade 2, baby.
Okay, Hellblade 2. Let me play that while we talk. Now, why was Hellblade 2 for you the game of the show for you?
Because it's I think was the most impressive thing shown at the TGAs, right? It's also the game I've been looking forward to the most out of Xbox's projects. I am a huge fan of Hellblade 1. We've been waiting for a long time for this, and then being like, hey, we want to see combat, which we wanted to see this past E3, but we didn't get. And it was like, all right, show it up. And the trailer they released was magnifique. Right?
Got you speaking
Played
in French.
To the music.
Yeah.
Had the shots of incredible shots of scenery and locations. Some shots made it look photorealistic.
Yeah.
I can see her terror in her face and her voice, and then you get the shots of the combat.
Absolutely.
Right, which very similar to Hellblade 1, but like I never expected the sequel to be all of a sudden now it's Devil May Cry 5 where you're fighting 15 people at once. I always expected it to be an evolution of the first one, which it seems like it is. It's definitely more visceral. Definitely more aggressive. She's doing more things. Like you see the part where she grabbed like an axe and stabbed him in the head. You got somebody that came in and help her. Definitely seems they've ratcheted up a notch, right? Still seems to be 1-on-1, 2-on-1 sort of combat, which is what I expected. But that trailer, like I was expecting a lot. Like I think Ninja Theory is an incredible studio, and I have been expecting a lot from Ninja Theory and this game, and that trailer delivered on every single front. Like I think I've watched that trailer 10 times. I've watched it on my OLED with, seeing all the great 4K that you can see on there. I've watched it on my PC with headphones so I could be like hearing all the crazy stuff going on there, seeing people's reactions to it online. For me, even though it's a game we already knew and saw, like you could maybe make an argument for that Exodus game, sci-fi stuff or whatever. Or you can make, a claim for the Sega announcement, which probably the Sega announcement was probably the coolest one.
Yeah, one of the coolest.
At the show. But for me, the one that I like the most. And honestly, I did know about the Blade thing, so maybe that's one of the reasons why the Blade thing didn't hit with me, because I had known about it for a week.
Okay.
So I was kind of like expecting it. So like some of these things when you're expecting it doesn't hit as hard.
Yeah.
But for me, it's Hellblade 2.
Okay.
Like this, the game I'm looking forward to the most, and it seems like they're going to deliver on everything that I hope they would.
Okay, I'm gonna have to hit you up next time to get the inside scoop sometime. All right, Rand, tell me something, brother. Maybe like, listen to Led Zeppelin or something.
But I think I gave Asante enough time to come up with an answer.
Oh yeah.
Good cover. Good.
Yeah, you definitely gave me
answer.
enough time. Yes.
Good answer too. I'll just to speak on it. I absolutely agree with Hellblade. Your talk on that. It was one of my picks of the show. Blade was number 1 for me, but Hellblade was number 2. Because, like you said, all of those things they delivered on is visually one of the most impressive games I've ever seen. the combat that they showed allowed me to take Risket's knees because he hit me up. Yeah, he told me, "Oh, they're not going to show combat, bro." He was so sure of himself, and I was so pleased when they showed the combat.
Senua picked up a sword and lost Risket's knees.
Oh,
yes.
Boy. Chopped his knees off with a mighty swing of that X. I was like, yeah, donate those knees, playboy. But
oh boy,
what would it be for you, Kay? What would be your game of the show? Only one.
So only one, but I'll give you an honorable mention after. The one that I really think like is impressive, and no disrespect to Hellblade, because I will be playing that day one, of course. Blade is amazing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do there. But for me, that's tough, man. Because I could say No Man's Sky is a new game, because I'm really looking forward to that, seeing what they do there. But it's got to be No Rest for the Wicked.
I knew you were going to say it. I had my hand hovering.
It's got to be. It's literally yes. Yeah, like Ori, the Ori team, like, when you're so good you can be full of crap. When you're so good you could just talk that ish. You could just be a horrible human being, and then you bring your next product and we're like, shut up but give it to me. You know what I mean? That's where we are. Right? Like they can talk all that ish they want, but still they are on Xbox Wire, right? After the last thing with Moon Studios, it was like, oh, we're never gonna hear from them again, right? Because there was no love lost. But as soon as you bring your wares, Tomas, shut your mouth and let me see it, because it is brilliant. Like, wow, amazing what you have to offer.
When I saw the moon rotate and go around that, I'm gonna guess the Earth or whatever, right? When it showed, when I actually saw it pop up, and I was like, Moon, and then it's there it is, Moon Studios.
Yeah,
we saw all the stuff going on. I'm like, what is this game? Like, what's all this interesting artwork? But when I saw that pop up, any doubt I had about what this game was,
I mean,
right out the
come
window.
on, look at that. It's amazing. Like, it's absolutely amazing. Now, real quick, you said real quick, I have to give an honorable mention, because I wouldn't be me if I didn't give an honorable mention to Tales of Kinzera. Tales of Kinzera.
Let me find.
I pre-ordered that thing 5 minutes after I saw the trailer, after I heard the man speak. He is Bayek of Siwa, so the voice already resonated. One of my favorite Assassin's Creed games ever.
How do you say his name again? When Bayek Kasia?
Bayek of Siwa.
Oh, Bayek of Siwa. Okay, got you.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
so yes, I had to check it out. That one, the elevator pitch is Ori, once again, meets Black Panther. So there you go. I'm sold. Let's go.
No, I'm with you on that. It was nice to see that, as far as the call. By the way, this is what I think you mentioned, Light No Fire by the man, my man from
Hello Games.
Yeah, Hello Games. Thank you. No, I'm with you on that too. I cannot find a trailer here in all these thousands of videos here in the bottom.
Oh yeah. There's gonna be a million trailers, bro.
But it's fine. No Man's Sky too. I was gonna try to say, but yeah, Light No Fire actually was impressive. I agree with you too. And but I have never actually played No Man's Sky, so that was actually impressive to see. For me, it actually made me like, I think I'm gonna have to get into it.
And you know what's gonna happen, right? You know exactly what's gonna happen. Like, mark my words now, right? They're talking about Light No Fire in like 2030, when the next Elder Scrolls comes out. They'll go, hey, that look like Light No Fire. It'll start all over again.
Yeah. And Danny, what about you? What would you say was your game of the show?
Man, so this is becoming tough.
Yeah.
Because I can't say Halo or Halo. Can't say Hellblade because that was taken. I'm saving Blade for you, obviously.
Okay.
Because you said that was yours.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of down to a different tier at this point, because I feel like for me those were the ones that I was really excited. There were other things we saw that I was excited about, but we had seen them before. Like, I'm still excited for Persona 3 Reload. I'm still excited for Metaphor Fantasia, whatever that dumb title for that game that looks really good is. So I think maybe for me, the thing I'm most excited about, and you're not going to find the trailer for this,
what is it?
Is I'm excited for the new Don't Nod like game series that they announced. It was
Oh,
called
with the girls, the ladies.
yeah, it was called
Mhm.
Lost Records Bloom and Rage. So it's like
Mm.
it looks like they're doing like a Life is Strange because they don't own Life is Strange. That property's owned by Square, I think.
Oh, Square owns it.
Um,
Oh, okay, I didn't know
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, because
Yep.
they only did, I think the Don't Nod did the first 2, and then they did Tell Me Why, and then I think 3 was done by a different team that's name I don't remember.
that. Okay.
Who also did a good job, to be fair, but it's not Don't Nod.
I expected you to say Exodus for some reason.
Oh no.
I'm surprised. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing like a Dark Pictures anthology type deal, but for Life is Strange type games.
Okay.
And I'm down for that. I really like those games. They're not like the most exciting thing in the world, and probably nobody else. You could ask 100 other people. I don't necessarily think anybody else would have given this answer.
Yeah.
But I really, for me, let me just start. I didn't like the Game Awards. I thought they were really bad. For a multitude of reasons. But also, I think there were only like 3 announcements that were really exciting to me, and you guys have already said 2 of them. So here we are.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's a different take, but I will say I do love Dump Knot too. So I'm actually kind of
Yeah,
I'm
they're
excited
also doing
for
that Banishers game.
Oh yeah, Banishers actually
Banner-
looks pretty good.
of
That looks a
new
bit out of their wheelhouse
or
too.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they do a lot of weird stuff every now and then, but
Yeah.
but yeah, they're definitely their wheelhouse is the Life is Strange type game.
It is. And but
I mean, they are putting out a ton of games. I mean, they just put
Yeah.
out Jusant, which was
Jusant.
which
Forgot
was really
this
good.
is.
I thought.
yeah.
They got Banishers coming out in February.
Yeah.
They have the game that Danny just talked about, which looks pretty cool.
Mhm.
They're doing a lot of stuff. How many teams do they have? It seems like they're
I
just
don't know, because I
constantly
would have thought
doing.
they were a really small team.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they are
just
prolific.
The amount of work that they're putting out is surprising.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm actually loving them too. I've been a big fan of theirs. Black Myth Wukong looked real good, obviously, but we've seen a lot
Yeah,
of
I
that.
feel like I still don't believe that game's real though.
Yeah, it seems a little too good to be
You know
true
what
at
I mean?
times, doesn't it? Yeah. No, I will agree with that. I will agree. It seems a little too good to be true at points. And I'll just skip ahead to mine. I tried to find yours. I could not find it. Let me see.
That's fine. Don't even worry about
Oh
it.
no, I found it. Look at that.
It is,
There you go.
Yeah, it's right before the game that I'm picking. Actually, how odd. So yeah, I see. You can see clearly who they're trying to appeal to. I'm not trying to sound funny, but you can
No.
see who they're trying to appeal to. But I will
And
say
it was
this.
me.
It was me all
they were
along.
appealing to.
But you know what's funny though? I will say this. Even though like I'm a classical man. I'm a classical hip hop loving dude. I love Life is
Yeah.
Strange. I love
Those
I
games are
love what
great.
Don't Nod does. I do what they do rather. So I think this is actually going to be pretty dope. I would say too, they're kind of trying to call on that Stranger Things kind of aim right
Oh,
there.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Marvel's Blade, absolutely my game of the show.
Yeah.
Did not know about it happening. I did not believe it. I saw people talking about it on Twitter and everything, and I was like, they're not going to do that. Because it had been something we had all talked about several times, and we were like, they're like, we're going to get Blade. I'm like, nah, that's not going to happen, right? Phil doesn't want any licensed gaming, blah, blah, blah. Then I see him, tapping his feet, and he's like, turn that shit up. I'm like, all right. And then he, cuts himself, and he's like checking his blood. I'm like, why is he so scary? What's going on? And then he gets by him, and he starts shaving him, as you can see here. And he's like, I don't bite. I'm like, wait, what? And then I see his teeth. I'm like, are those fangs? I'm like, I know damn well this is not what I think it is.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I'm like, hell no. Did you see him putting on the jacket and everything, showing this little 6-shooter? That blew me away. That was the surprise of the show for me. Did not know about it, so it really caught me by surprise. Just ridiculous. Honestly, super hyped. But I have questions about that. And that's what our last topic will be, gentlemen. Switch back out. 1 second. So, yeah. So our main topic last topic rather, will be about Blade. Let me highlight this as well. I have a few questions for you guys. We'll try to get through as quick as we can. Second. All right. So one of the things we found out recently too is that Blade apparently has been in development by Arkane Studios Lyon for at least 2 years, or it's about to be
Yeah.
2 years. That surprised the hell out of me. Did anybody think it was under development that long?
No, well, because when Dinga came up, he was basically like, "We're just now starting. Let us cook." Right? Like, I'm
Right.
pretty sure that's almost his exact words, right?
Mhm.
So for them to be like,
I'm not surprised.
"Hey, also we've been working on it for 2 years," I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think they might have been working in pre-production for a couple
Yeah,
years.
Yeah.
I think
Maybe
so, too.
maybe they're just like starting full production.
I'm still thinking.
Think about the last
Take a
time.
while.
Think about when Lyon actually released a game, right?
Mhm.
They released Deathloop, and yeah, they released it on Xbox a year later, but they didn't like all heads down. Everybody's work on Deathloop for Xbox. Presumably, that game was being developed for both, and one was slow walked versus the other because of a exclusivity deal, right? So even if you have to work on it and clean it up for the Xbox later, not the whole team is working on it. That was released in 2018, right? So they've been on the bench, quote unquote,
2021.
for a while. Oh, 2021. I'm sorry.
2018.
They've been on, yeah, 2021. Forgive me.
We went
Forgive me.
back in
forgive me.
time.
They've been on the bench for a while, right? We're almost in 2024, right? So they've been sitting there. You don't think they're just like poking around for 3-4 years, just deciding what to do? When I heard this, I was like, okay, great. This is probably what they've been doing. This is what they've been incubating for a while, and now they're ready to announce it, right? Just like Machine Games, which right now, when was the last time they released something, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's wondering what that is.
They released Wolfenstein 2 in 2017, and then they
17,
co-devved Youngblood in 2019 with
Right.
Arkane
19.
Austin.
Yeah. So them again, right? If they say we're doing Indiana Jones, when do you expect to see that? Because they've been at it
Yeah.
for some time, and as Rand has already pointed out, even in this dev cycle where you're talking 4 or 5 years, they're about close to it. So I wasn't surprised to hear this information.
Are they
I
close to
really
it, though?
wasn't. Well, who knows? But presumably, if a standard dev cycle, even the max dev cycle of 5 years, is to be taken into consideration, they're getting close to 5 years now.
Well, yeah, but I mean that may not include pre-production and stuff.
Exactly.
Like,
oh yeah, of course.
They still may have 4 years to go from now.
Exactly.
This game may
Yes.
not even come out until 2027, 2026.
100%. 100%. I guess what I'm saying is between now and whenever the game gets released, you would presume to at least see what they're working on now, rather than even obviously they may not release it. Even when they say a game is in QA could take 1.5 years to 2 to finish. So that's not to say they're releasing anytime soon. But after that length of time, I think they're at least ready to show you what they were working on all that time. So I for one, when I heard this thing they were working on it for a while, like I was excited to know that they hadn't just been sitting there incubating for all that time. They were actually working on something. You know what I mean? And that tells me that possibly you'll see it sooner. Sooner than you thought, right? Because as soon as we saw this announcement, we thought, oh well, see you in 5 years or whatever.
That was my.
It may be 3 years.
That was my first thought. Was like, this is going to be a while. I'm thinking 27,
Yeah.
28.
Exactly.
Oh, I
right.
think
So this may be 3 years or 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Which means some of that preliminary has already been taken care of, which is
Well,
cool.
Hear me out. Do you think that this is a game that ends this console generation or starts the next one? Because
good question.
that's about the range we're
Most
looking
likely
at here.
starts the next one. Yeah, most likely starts the
Cross-gen.
next one. But
Yeah.
Launch
Yeah.
game.
I can see.
but
cross-gen.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's
Yeah.
gonna be cross-gen. Absolutely.
I can see
and-
cross-gen,
and
but
by
I'll say
cross-gen-
this. Sorry to say, I was going to say, I can say this though.
No, please,
I
please.
go on a record as saying I don't think this gen is going to end as soon as people think it would. I thought it would go into 2028. That's my personal thinking. So I don't know if it'll even be cross-gen necessarily, but I can see that happening. I can see them trying to capitalize on both. But I think this gen will last longer. Typically, is 5 years. I don't think it'll be just 5 years for this gen personally.
Well, if it was 5 years, it'd be over. We'd be ending the gen in 2 years.
Exactly.
In the next couple of years, yeah, absolutely.
It's usually 7, and they started in 2020. So I know, but the thing is, we know the leak from Xbox, right?
Yeah.
We know the roadmap that said, "Hey, next gen consoles coming in 2028." But then they did come out and all say, "Actually, that's not our plans aren't. That's not the whole plans or the real plans or whatever." So who knows? Maybe they changed. Asante, so. Did you know about? I figured you probably knew about it because I know Everborn said something to me.
I did.
And I
Yes.
figured like Everborn and you since you guys are
We
the podcast are tight,
we came
right?
to the same source. We came to the same information from different sources, but yes, we knew about it. Yes.
Well, it was funny because like he came to me and I said something to him, and then he was just like, "Oh yeah, what do you say? It was a bad source, but I'm hearing it's Blade." And I knew it was Blade, so I'm sitting there, I'm like, "What the fuck does Everborn know? Like, what the hell? Like, who told Everborn?" I was like, "What's going on here?" And I was like, interesting. But at the time, Everborn was like, Everborn was like, it's a bad source. Well, I guess not anymore. So
yeah. We both came to it from different sources, and it was one of those, you show me yours and I'll show you mine.
Pause. There you go. Okay.
Well, remember, because
yes,
you're insider now because of the
I need you to cut that out.
Controller and headset, right?
I need you to cut that out immediately. I need you to stop that.
That's true.
I need you to stop that. You know what? You know what? Let me not put you on that Summer Jam screen there, Mr. Randolph Thor, who always has prognostications right when he knows exactly what's going to be dropped. I've caught you a few times on that one. Calm down. Yeah.
They're just predictions.
So
sure.
I posted up one of the new screenshots we see that was I was going to say leaked, but it was actually put out by Arkane Lyon today. Some of the concept artists. Some of this is dope here. But I do want to read something really quick. So what Brisket was saying, Rand, he was saying that you said you'd come through Xbox Infinite last week. He said, why do you hate him? And he says,
like Umbra, you got to remind me, dude. You can't just like, can you come? And then I say, yeah. And then, not say anything the whole rest of the week. You expect me to remember. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. You got to be in there being like, you coming, like the day of, be like, yeah, but I didn't hear anything from you. So
I got some Italian beef sauce over here. Some Jew, you coming through?
I wasn't tagged in anything. You didn't remind me. Don't blame me for the stuff.
Yeah,
well,
which
that's
one of
on
you likes
you.
to dip your meat and which one likes to drench it?
I don't like mine dipped or drenched. I like mine dry. All right? Let's get this straight.
Right.
No, but listen.
Jesus Christ.
So what I found interesting about some of these, I kind of analyzed some of this art here, and if you all didn't know, I draw myself. I haven't drawn in a while though, so I'm sure my skills have diminished. But a few key things I noticed on some of the key art, and some of the things that kind of made me feel away. I'll be honest with you. So you see here, that's clearly a garlic head man. That's funny. So they're calling. You see the little bats flying around here. So like you can see all of that on the right side over here too. Also, this right here is in French, and it says curfew. No exit here, basically. That's what this is saying. So clearly it's going to be a quarantined, I'm guessing, linear kind of game.
Because vampires.
Exactly. So it's going to be a linear, which I think we kind of all expect. I don't think any of us expected any open world kind of thing. I'll say this. I do not care for his boots. They look a little Oshkosh bagosh to me.
It's just concept art, bro.
I know.
Yeah,
We're losing our mind over concept art here.
I know.
You're being too nitpicky here, buddy.
I know. I get it.
It should have been Tim's.
It should have been some Tim's. Yeah, no. Yeah, son. No, but I'm not mad at it.
But you know what? Look at the opening trailer. Like, yes, this is concept art. But look at the opening trailer. They gave you a lot of hints as to what to expect in that opening trailer. Like you when you were defining and you were going, oh, he cut himself. You hadn't noticed the 500 crosses all everywhere. Crosses that were everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Before he even opens in the door, like there's the art on the wall. It is straight up like black. Paris, and that's a subculture,
and I appreciate that.
And I'm so excited to see that stuff. There's a lot there, right? There's a lot there. I'm super excited to see that.
It is a lot. And I'm very actually. I want to say this too. I've talked with Dinka behind the scenes, Dinka Bakaba, and I actually was going to try to get him on the show way back when they had Deathloop, and I did not like Deathloop. I know you did, Rand.
Yeah, I did. I liked Deathloop.
I did not care for it at all, and I tried, but I got nothing but love.
What didn't you like about it? Did you not like the combat? Did you not like the way the story progressed?
Just the way the story progressed. I did like the character. I thought he was hilariously blaxploitation and all that. Like
I go slow-mo backslap.
I would know, like Dirk Briggity. Who am you, sucker? I always laugh at that because
wheat straw out here.
Yeah, right. yeah, sucker. You come straight out of a comic book, man. That's how he talks. So I always laughed at it because I always thought of Dirt, how he talks. But so again, but I think it's the gameplay loop for me. It didn't really do it for me, and I don't know, man. This is a lot that just didn't land with me. I do want to give it another try eventually, though. But okay, so
it's fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
We have this other shot here with it that they leaked, or not leaked, they put out to us, and I keep wanting to leak. I don't know why, but it's the subway here, You can see some of the vampires looking like they're drugged out here inside the train car, and you see him outside of the train car, and the bats flying around. But I can't zoom in, but that's part of the point.
Like he's fighting.
He does look like he's fighting, but I don't like those boots. I'm gonna tell you, and that it's
Jeez, here we go with
consistent.
them boots.
It's too
Let me tell you
consistent.
about these boots.
These
though.
boots ain't doing it for me, player. I need some stylish things going on here. This looking. And it looks a little homemade, the little outfit he got in. Like it's a little MC Hammer pants and a black shirt. It's like, nah. Style this man out. I mean, but that goes.
Who's going to say it again? Concept art, sir.
It's true.
Concept
But see, look at these boots. Look at them Oshkosh rain boots right here he got on. I'm not feeling these boots.
Have you watched The Mandalorian? The concept art at the end, it's always like this, but the details are so different.
That's true. That's true. I do love their concept art. By the way,
I think it's super cool that Arkane is doing this. As someone who loves all their games except for Redfall, right?
Yeah.
I didn't like Redfall, but Dishonored 1 and 2 and Prey and Deathloop are amazing. I sort of feel like people don't appreciate Arkane in the way they should be appreciated, right? You look at the type of games they make, they should be up there as one of the top 10 studios in the world, right? But they're not. So one of the things I think people aren't really talking about, maybe because it's speculation, at least from my end, like I look at Insomniac, and I look at what Insomniac was doing before Spider-Man, and then I look at what Insomniac's been doing since Spider-Man. And I think it's very clear, because of Spider-Man, there was a ton of investment put into that game, to the studio, to make that game as special as it was. And I think, Insomniac's gone on to make some of their best work since then. So my hope is that the same thing happens for Arkane. That, okay, we have a Marvel game. Arkane had this pitch. Marvel loved the pitch. Okay, we got Blade coming. Now, what Microsoft and Bethesda needs to do is they need to pump money, pump resources, hire crazy to have Arkane take that next leap, like Insomniac took that next leap, right? So, because Insomniac was always a great developer, but I feel like they didn't take that next step until Spider-Man.
I think that's a good point, actually.
And so I sort of feel like I'm hopeful that this is going to be the next step for Arkane, where they've always been under the shadows. Like, they make great stuff, but nobody really buys them. Nobody really talks about them. But now they deliver on Blade, and because the investment, because Marvel's going to want that game to be hot, right? And game to be really good. What do you think about
this, Rand? What do you think about the fact that your comparison? It's basically to Remedy. They are one game away from being like, hey, this is the studio you should be paying attention to. With Remedy, it was Alan Wake 2, right? Which you're looking
bought,
for
apparently.
that, which no one bought, which is crazy, which is unfortunate because it's their best game, right? And to your point, with Arkane Lyon, hopefully it's Blade, where they get that shine, where you make that comparison to the great, which right now is Spider-Man and Insomniac, and that comparison is still competitive. That will take him to that next level. I think you're completely right. They are great. They always have been. They're just waiting for that one property and that amount of investment to take them to that next level.
I think this is a good point you're making here, Rand. Honestly, one thing I want to point out in this artwork here, and again, this is what I appreciate. I don't know if I'm the first one to notice it, but I think I'm in our chats. I know I was. So you see the reflections down here, and you see the people standing here, Blade peeking around.
And you see his boots.
Can't see the vampires.
See his little Oshkosh Bagosh boots right here. But you can't see their reflections in the water. I thought that was just such a nice touch right there. Just to throw that out there. Just shout out to the concept artist. And again, you see the little garlic man over here in the left behind Blade. I just find it funny. But again, and then the last one, that's it. So I thought it was more. I got excited for a second. But so I got a few questions for you guys, and we'll try to get through these quicker as we can. Are you confident in Arkane Lyon making a game based on Blade? And if not, who would you have rather preferred to have made this out of all the studios that Microsoft own? If you had to take a pick outside of Arkane, if you had to. Now, if you're content with them, it is what it is. But if you had to pick somebody else, who would you pick?
Well, okay, so if Blade's gonna be primarily a melee focused character with gadgets and stuff, maybe the only other studio that I can maybe see them doing doing that sort of character justice is Ninja Theory, with their specialty in melee combat, whether it's the Hellblade stuff or DMC, where you could have like a blade that is just doing crazy combos with the swords and all the different stuff. But otherwise, like Arkane Lyon, I mean, you look at like some of the really cool Dishonored 2 videos that are out there, or even some of the really cool Deathloop, where it's not necessarily stealth, it's very much action, and just I've seen some of the stuff and I'm like, that's Blade. Like, people forget, like, Dishonored, you have like a sword, you have like a crossbow. I think a lot of people played it stealth, but you can totally go balls to the wall action, and it's crazy how violent Dishonored is. You're cutting off people's heads, you're blocking and parrying. So if you see some of those videos where I forget what you would type it on YouTube, like Dishonored 2,
you're shooting metal spikes
action
into people.
playthroughs, like you're just doing stuff. I like, you watch that and you'll come to realize, and the same videos exist for Deathloop. You'll come to realize that Arkane is probably the best studio for this, because I think maybe one of the reasons Marvel liked the pitch is like, play Blade the way you want, right? And judging from one of the concept arts, he's like in an alley. He sees the vampires, but he's kind of like hiding a little bit, right?
Stalking
Where
them.
some would say Blade isn't like that. Blade gonna come out and he's gonna attack, but Blade's, like I said, play it your way. They could have stealth approach where you could play Blade. He's up on the rooftops. Maybe you're stalking him on the rooftops, and you could play it as like fully action. All these different things and gadgets you can use. No, so like thinking about it, like I think Arkane probably is the best choice. I really recommend people to check out some of those Deathloop and Dishonored videos, because you watch that stuff and realize like, dude, that's Blade right there. Yeah. That's totally Blade.
Okay. So that's a good answer right there. I do want to move to you guys the same question, but I do want to read Splendiferous's super chat because it's way back. $2 super chat from Splendiferous. Shout out, brother. He says, I like Zal, the indie spiritual game, new devs, A+. So I'm with you there. I think we all agreed it looks really dope. Excited for that. And I have to actually pre-order that too, but I don't want it on computer. I'm sorry, on PC rather, not computer. Look how old I am. Anyway.
I pre-ordered it on Xbox.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I need to go ahead and do that before I head out tonight. Then some people, and I'm looking at the chat. So chat, thank you for that, by the way. A lot of the chat are saying coalition. I don't know. I don't think I would say the coalition for this.
No.
Yeah, I
I'm
could
sure
see
they do fine.
Well, if you were making a Punisher game,
yeah,
sure.
Dread or something like
100%.
that. Yeah, Dread.
Although
Judge
I might
Dredd.
even get that to like an Infinity Ward or something at this point.
Well, yeah.
Well, okay. Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Do you think it stops at one? Do you think it's just
No.
Blade?
Oh no.
Or do you think
now,
they have
hold on.
multiple?
Time out. Now I got some questions leading to that, so I'm glad you got some questions to that.
We're on the same wavelength. Huh?
We are. It's Chicago. It's a Chicago in this.
So let me answer. Let me answer what I think. So, just like Rand was saying, just like Insomniac had their resume building exercise with Sunset Overdrive, which then gave them the locomotion that people went, hey, they can totally do Spider-Man. I am one of the biggest stands of Arkane. I have played all of the Dishonored series, including all the various DLC. There's a lot, right? I played Prey. I played like a lot of their games. If you play that, you will see it. That is 100% a resume building exercise for Blade. They are uniquely positioned within all the stable to play Blade. Now, if you had to add something interesting to it, just for a bit of flavor, how about, I don't know, in a cooperation with Tango Gameworks, so it becomes really scary.
Oh,
That's what I was gonna say, you jerk.
Right?
Wait,
so
can you
you
just
give them the
repeat-
combat.
Repeat what you said. I didn't hear it. Wait, repeat what you said for me.
I'm saying, like, you get the combat,
Okay.
everything that you know from Arkane, from all the Dishonored series and all that, and then you add Tango Gameworks for the scary and the atmosphere and the storyline. So it's like really hardcore, like scare mother effers,
Now I'm on board.
but with Blade.
some
You
of the
sold me.
effers are always scared uphill. No, I have to change. I'm sorry.
But yes,
I can see that with the evil within series.
exactly.
Which by the
put,
way,
put some scare on you.
put
you
some
know?
scare on you. I expect Evil Within 3 to be announced soon, by the way, next year, by the way.
Boy, I hope so.
Boy, howdy. What about you, Danny?
Boy,
What's your thoughts on this?
I was gonna say Tango.
Tango.
I mean, I think Arkane will do really well with it. I have no worries about that at all. I do think they need to. I think there needs to be a conversation about like, do we go third person with this? Because I think probably you should. I don't think that first person is going to be particularly great for a big license.
He said they are going third person.
Oh,
he said it on stage.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's one thing they said,
advantage.
third person.
Well, that's great.
Mhm.
Because I don't think that. I just don't think melee feels good in first person ever. So I'm glad they're doing that.
Yeah.
I hope that they're able to make that melee combat feel good, because that's one of the things that's always kind of annoyed me about Arkane games. Is it's like you have all of these options, but a lot of them feel really bad, and one of the ones that always felt bad was melee.
Yeah.
Because like when you're stabbing people up, like it just doesn't feel like there's any impact, and you can't not have impact as Blade, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully they're able to figure that out. I think they should be able to.
Okay.
But my answer was gonna be Tango, because it's like vampires cool, spooky cool, like they can get that atmosphere down, no problem. I don't necessarily know that they would love to do like Blade specifically, being a Japanese group. I don't think that they would have the same passion.
Yeah.
But I do think they could do a really good job of
I
it.
think the combat would be decent, going off Hi-Fi Rush's combat.
Yeah,
I can see
Hi-Fi
them-
Rush.
Yeah, I can see that being the
With
case.
like a little Evil Within, you just slap those
Yeah,
together. There you go.
I can see that. I can see that. So second question for you guys. So do you feel it would be a fail if this game is not rated R, or if you had a different approach, like maybe PG, or do you think, or they would aim for a different approach like PG-13, would that be acceptable to you? And I say that because we talked about Wolverine earlier, and that's why I was pointing out with this. And one of the thoughts I had was, are they going to dumb down the violence and have it be all like, oh, I cut you, and like, oh, you failed and disappeared, but there's no blood, there's no guts, there's no brutal combat and such. Are you guys afraid of that?
Not really, because in the Blade movies, I mean, there is blood and guts, but don't they also turn to ash when he kills them?
They do, but
So like, it'll probably do both.
But he brutally does it when he does. He stabs them all up through their
100%.
face and everything else.
I mean, they said mature when they said the
Yeah.
game, single player mature
Mhm.
action game. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that
And they dropped the hints on you. Like
Yeah.
the first thing he says is play that, turn that shit up.
he did.
Literally.
That is true. He did.
Yeah.
So, but if they didn't have it rated R, that wouldn't be a problem for you guys. Just mature is fine enough then, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, these days they straddle that maturity line so much
Mhm.
that I think you can still make a visceral, satisfying thing that doesn't have to be hard R.
That's fair.
You could still do that.
That's fair.
I
It's
guess
it's not like we need to
the-
see nudity or anything, right? Yeah.
the one thing I'm sort of concerned about is their transition from first to third. 'Cause they haven't made anything that
Yep.
hasn't been first.
Yep.
So okay, how are you going to make that transition to third? And how are you going to maintain what Arkane's known for? I mean, you don't necessarily have to go crazy in the immersive sim stuff. I mean, you can tone it down a little bit, but it'd be interesting to see that move from first to third, and if they can nail. I would assume so. That's important. You're going to have to hire people for that or whatever. So that is one thing I'm kind of like, all right, can you do it?
That's
Let's
a
see
good
if you
point.
can. Maybe not as
Rand-
much as like Fable being like, hey, we
Yeah.
took a racing studio and we're making an action RPG, right?
Right.
Where it's like,
Yep.
first
Remember
to
back
third-
in the day, Rand, when myself and Everborn were talking with you, and we were like, does Xbox have a first-person problem? We had this conversation like maybe a year
Yeah.
ago, and now it looks like, hey, Arkane is going, screw that, we're going third person.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost
Maybe
like maybe
not.
Marvel dictates. Marvel probably wants their characters to be seen. Let's be honest, right? If you're making a game with one of their characters, they want you to be able to see the character, I would imagine. So that's
Well, I
probably
also think
part
that's-
of it.
I also think that's probably the right call for most licensed properties. I
Yeah.
think if you're going to spend
Absolutely.
the money on buying a recognizable figure, then you
should be
should
able to see 'em.
want people to see them
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
time.
Well, that's even
Uh,
part of the discussion about Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Is Indiana Jones
Yeah.
going to be third person? Is Indiana Jones, because Machine Games, they only ever made first person. So people are like, well, Indiana Jones got to be first person. Well, with this, we know that Arkane's moving to third.
Right.
Is Machine Games moving to third from
Maybe they have a
for
split.
Indiana Jones?
Maybe they have a split where you can switch between perspectives.
I mean, maybe it's possible. Like
Yeah.
now, I'm really interested in seeing like what they're doing with Indiana Jones and how
Yeah.
they're approaching
Yeah.
that. Is it young indie? Is it like middle age indie? It's obviously not going to be grandpa indie.
No.
They should give us Grandpa Indy now that you say that, and have us, throwing our hip out when we try to swing with the whip. I've lost them. So the next question for you guys, if you and Rand, you can start with this one, then go to Asante, then to you, Danny. If you had to pick a game for inspiration, which would you pick for to base the combat off for Blade, and what weaponry would you like the game to have? Now, if you've seen the movies or if you read the books and stuff like I have, right? Blade uses a lot of different bits in his arsenal.
Yeah.
Obviously, he has the stakes, he has the guns. In the concept art, you can see he has a 6-shooter, this old classic 6-shooter.
It was even in the trailer, right?
Absolutely.
He had the pistol, he had like flashbangs, grenades, his sword.
So if you had to base it off a game that people can relate to and say, "Oh, okay, I get your vision," what game would you base the combat off that you would want them to try to kind of ape a little bit?
I mean, like I have the game in my head. I don't remember the
I can come
name
back
of
to
it.
you if you want. But
let me think.
Yeah.
Hit since last time Asante passed it to me, I'm gonna pass it to Asante.
There you go. He passed. He lateraled it to you, Asante. What would you say?
So I'm gonna throw out there, and people gonna throw the tomatoes at me. Because everyone seems to no. He's like
tomatoes ready in the chat. Get them ready.
Yeah. No. Actually, like and because of the combat options, that I'll leave open. I want to be surprised by the combat options. Obviously, it's going to be melee heavy. It's going to be very much viscerally focused. I appreciate that. I even love that if they did what's the Metal Gear Solid game where you could get very specific with your limb dismemberment and whatnot. Revengeance,
yes.
They could go hard in that direction.
I didn't even
with
think
the sword.
about that. That's a good one.
Right? They could do that. But
I like that.
I hate to say this. Here's where the tomatoes come for me. I hate to say this, but for me, up until now, the best third-person kind of action, like adventure game, right? Where you like at some point you have all of your faculties with you, and you can literally go out and you have this power fantasy, right? It's AC, Assassin's Creed. It's to me, it's what do you call it? What the hell? What's the PlayStation game? Oh my god, now I'm forgetting her name. Everybody calls it. Yeah, there you go. Ghost of Tsushima. Yes, the sword play in Ghost of Tsushima, how you back and forth, how you block. I don't want the FromSoft block and parry, right? I feel like it's too limited. You got to do it this way or you're dead.
I agree.
Whereas Ghosts literally gives you, when you fail at Ghosts, you feel bad about yourself because you screwed that up.
I agree.
The combat is just so empowering.
Yep.
Like they just need to focus that combat as much as they can. The sword play, I mean, on Ghost of Tsushima, because it's like the perfect balance of combat when it comes to
your
sword
picks
play.
there. I got to tell you, for one, Revengeance would be so damn cool to have him kind of slicing these vampires up like that. Two, if they did do like a Ghost of Tsushima style at least with the sword play, man, the freedom you have there that they give you in Ghost of Tsushima is actually quite impressive.
Yes,
I thought that should have won Game of the Year that year. By the way,
I think Ghost is like one of the most underrated PlayStation games ever. I think it's one of my favorite games like ever played. I want to play that game over and over and over again. It is amazing.
It's the first game I put on my OLED, by the way. It was the first game I put on my OLED,
there you go.
And my eyeballs open like, oh.
Yes.
That game is gorgeous.
There are some parts in a game where they are hyping themselves up. Like you're like, I don't know, 80% of the way in. You got your kimono on. You're feeling all about it. You're about to go up against a really, really bad boss, and he's just looking at you. And you mean mugging, and it is. Go play Ghost of Tsushima. It's amazing.
It's peak samurai.
Amazing.
It's peak samurai action.
It is peak samurai. That's right. Absolutely.
I would love them to implement some of that into the combat for Blade. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
Now he still would have to move faster than Jin.
Oh yeah. Don't go all the way in samurai direction.
Exactly.
Get some of the sword combat style. From Ghosts.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, Rand, did you come up with your thought for it?
So I like all of Asante's picks,
Yeah.
but while he was talking, I had this game in my mind because like watching the Blade movies, like there's the vampires, but then there's Blade, and Blade is a martial artist. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
No, he is.
He is, and I remember the Blade movie. He's taking out like regular vampires like it's nothing, right? Just like because he's so skilled, and they're not, and they're just vampires, and he's so skilled. So part of me is like, what if you did like Sifu? Like
Yeah.
a combat of Sifu where it's all about like easily, like fastly dispatching enemies. Like when you get a sword in that game, or when you get like a pole, and you're just like mowing through people.
Yeah.
Because you're just way better than they are. Like obviously you don't have to do like the hand-to-hand stuff that Sifu does, but I was thinking more of like, here's the master, here's his weapon, and he's just clearing house super quickly. You know what I mean? I don't know. That was like something I had.
No,
in my head, like,
excellent thought, sir. Excellent thought. Yeah, you are absolutely right. Because I can see that happening. If you've seen the movies, in many instances, he's running down hallways, dispatching fools left and right. In certain instances, he throws a stake at you, right, dead eye, you're gone. Like that hallway fight in Sifu, exactly the same way. Only you'd be using swords and you'd be using
and
stakes,
weapons,
and man, it'd be awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No, I like that actually. I think that would be pretty dope. I can see the Sifu. But speaking of which, I just bought that. It's on sale if you all don't know on Xbox right now. So I have
one of the
it
best
twice.
games of last year.
Yep, I have it twice.
Yep.
Now.
Love that
I have it on
game.
PC and now I have it on Xbox, which I'll probably actually play now.
Bro, by the time you finish that game,
Yeah.
you will look at yourself in the mirror and you will go, "I am the
But
master."
but here's the thing: only if he beats it on normal, because he can play.
Yes.
Because normal wasn't there when it first launched, and it was tough.
Yeah,
But they've implemented easy. And let me tell you, as someone who beat the game on normal on PlayStation when it came out,
Yeah, I played it on normal too on
easy
PC.
is so
Yeah.
ridiculously easy. So
Yeah.
if you want to be a man, Umbra, if you want to feel
Oh,
that
yeah.
sense of accomplishment,
man up.
Oh yeah.
Not
Oh
only
yeah.
Not only that, Asante, I did the thing where I beat the final boss under
How
the
old
age
were
of
you?
25. I was 22 when I beat him. I only died twice.
I was in my
Really?
30s. I was in my 30s. Yes, I was in my 30s. It takes a while to get there.
Time out,
It's
time out.
presumably a short game.
You all played it on the hardest difficulty doing that, or
No,
like
no, no,
normal?
no. When the game first
normal.
came out, there was no difficulty settings,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
It was just what it was. But there was a trophy, which is the hardest trophy in the game, for beating the whole game under the age of 25. Because
Wow.
and they've totally changed how the death mechanic works, but in that game, if you die, you age, right? You go from 20 to 21.
Yeah.
But if you die again before resetting your death counter, it doubles. So then you would actually lose 2 lives. You go from 21 to 23, and then it'd be 3. You go from 23 to 26, right? And all that, and it all adds up. And let me tell you, the game is not easy. When you first start
No.
that, there's a learning
know.
curve because you'll get your ass handed to you. So I think I played that game for like 25 hours, and I was really proud when I finally was just so good at the game that I could beat the game only dying twice.
I can tell you, when I played it on PC, they beat my ass into an old man in that club. I was like,
oh
I,
yeah, the
Uh-huh.
club
I was,
level.
I was, I was in that club like, I'm
Yeah.
too old for this shit. They beat my ass,
Bro.
Yeah.
You need to go back and finish that game. If you are any much of a Enter the Dragon fan,
Oh, I
like
am.
if you like Bruce Lee movies and any that late stage Bruce Lee where you're walking through rooms of mirrors and things like,
Oh,
man, you need to play. It's so good.
Okay.
And man, they will kick your
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
when you're
believe you.
done, you feel so accomplished. That is my FromSoft game. After that, I'm like, I'm done. No more.
Yeah, but they added They even added a harder difficulty, which is ridiculous.
Oh wow.
So they made it even harder, but then they added an easy thing, and they changed how the death system works on easy, and you have like twice as much health. So it's like it's pretty easy on easy.
I'm going to try to get some of this in this week and see how I'm feeling it and try to really get.
It
through
is great.
Yeah. Punty's like, your eyeballs. Yeah. Sorry, Punty. Yeah, no pause, of course. Danny, did you have a take on it as far as, or did you already chime in on the combat part?
No, I mean, like, so all of your ideas are really fun, but I don't think we're gonna get any of those.
Probably not.
Like, almost certainly not, right? Like, we're not gonna go Revengeance. It's not gonna be a character action game. It's just not. Like, this is gonna be a game that's going to be. It's gonna have to be like appealing to the most broad audience possible, which means the combat has to be really simple. So it's gonna be like Arkham. It's gonna be like Spider-Man. Like that's what's gonna happen. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's the most exciting thing. I think it's pretty boring actually.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have to find some way to make it interesting. You'll have to add stealth to it. I mean, like both of those have stealth, but I don't want to just be like, oh, I'm up in the rafters, you can't see me. I want like actual stealth because he's a vampire.
Yeah. Now I'm with you on that, but I feel like, man, combat wise though, they can't just go Arkham style with it. I feel like I'm sure they'll have their own hybrid style, but
I'm telling you, I don't necessarily want this. I just think that's what's gonna happen.
Oh man,
I think that's the most.
You might be right.
Option.
You might end up right. I mean, shout out to Arkham, by the way. They've influenced a lot of games.
Yeah, I would hope that they upgrade it a little bit to get like more of a combo system in there. I would like a little like a light character action game.
That'd be dope.
But yeah, there's no way that they go as far as like a Sifu or a Revengeance. That's
so,
just not.
So my inspiration, and I'm surprised nobody said it, but Devil May Cry. If you have played Devil May Cry and you use Dante, if I'm not mistaken, on Devil May Cry 5, had, I think, something of a ridiculous number, like 400 some odd moves he could do. I don't expect them to go that far.
No, absolutely not.
But they should absolutely seek out whomever helped Capcom get that combat to that stage, because it's easily the best action,
You want to know who it was?
Who was it?
That dude who made DMC5 literally went and left to join Square Enix and gave you Final Fantasy 16.
No wonder.
Final Fantasy 16.
No wonder I enjoy the combat. Even though it's repetitive, I do enjoy the combat in Final Fantasy 16.
And that studio just disbanded. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I saw that, yeah. But then not in a bad way. They disbanded.
Well, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that's interesting. But that combat there in Devil May Cry 5, I think it would lend itself well, at least Dante's combat. Well, Nero's too, but the way they fight with the sword, I can see some of that. The way they flash step like that, he could do that. You know what I mean?
You could take part of that. You're not going to get like air juggles. That's not gonna, you're not going to do like air combos with this guy.
I don't think that'll happen either. But I definitely think, like, as far as on the ground, they can have him be a little more impressive with the combos and moves you can do with the sword, in akin to how Dante and Nero would move, and have him doing the flash step and things like that. Or if you play Final Fantasy 16, he does that Phoenix flash step thing too on there as well. So I think they can implement something like that, and it would play into his vampiric powers and such. Well, he's a vampire, right? Because he's half vampire, half human. And the last question before we can end this, it's been a lot made about the marketing, right? And so let me ask you guys, do you think it's bad marketing or a missed opportunity for the Xbox branding not to be seen or placed on this announcement trailer? Or do you think that was purposeful for the SEO? I'll go with you, Rand, since you
I think there are reasons why the logo wasn't there. I think there's reasons why the logo was added 4 or 5 days later. Not everything is always like, why did they do this? Are they stupid? Did they not know what their logo is? Because I mean, their logo was all over the Atlas games like Persona 3 and ReFantazio, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's probably just certain restrictions placed on them, certain things they could do. I know Bethesda likes their limited integration company. They think of them as Bethesda, right? And you look at like Bethesda's recent announcements, most of them don't come with a platform logo at all. You look at them all. You look at Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo when they revealed them in 2019, they didn't have anything. Starfield and Elder Scrolls, they didn't have anything either. Indiana Jones didn't even have anything, right? I think that's just sort of the way they announce their games, unless it's announced in someone else's show like they did with Hi-Fi Rush and Redfall, right? I think this is how Bethesda announces their stuff. I think part of the reason people bring it up is because the marketing for Xbox can kind of be spotty, and we don't know what's really exclusive. And Tim Stewart's comments had come out the week before, so a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Xbox is going third party," right? And then like, "Oh, well, this is the first sign of it." And I think people just kind of jump to conclusions too quickly. And as for a game, did I think they missed out on anything? No. I don't think like the Blade game's coming and it's Xbox. I don't think anybody's running out to buy an Xbox tomorrow because of it.
Yeah.
Because the game isn't anywhere, close. But like when the game's getting ready, I would expect a heavy marketing push by Bethesda and Microsoft to make sure that Blade is coming and it's in Game Pass, right? So I don't really think they've missed out on anything. I think the only people really upset were just like the perpetual online, like in the community, like so they think that's all anybody's talking about. It's like, oh my god, look at this big missed L by Xbox.
Yeah.
Is it really exclusive? I don't really think it went really much beyond that.
Yeah. And I think that was exacerbated too because of our Who brothers.
Oh, of course, it was exasperated because the PlayStation guys were saying, "Oh my god, it's coming to PlayStation." And now, I mean, we still don't really know if it's truly. We don't know 100%. I mean, I think it's exclusive. I'm pretty sure it's exclusive. But you know, it's just we've seen the interview with the Disney exec just recently about why they changed Indiana Jones to be exclusive.
Yep.
I would imagine Blade started off as exclusive too because it is a. You know, they are owned by Microsoft, but they do give them a lot of leeway. But it was. I don't want to say it was a fun discussion for a couple days. It was kind of just, are we really talking about a logo? Is this what we're talking about? Are we talking about practice?
We talking about practice here?
I think that's the thing that annoys me the most about this whole situation is because them not putting it in there. I don't really care. Like, there's this thing where I don't understand why we have to have this conversation every time Xbox announces a game. Like, I understand that they should have put the logo on it or whatever, but like, genuinely, I feel like even if they did put the logo on it, if it did not say only on Xbox in that trailer, we were going to be having this conversation. I promise you, because Xbox has to like justify every single game they put out.
Sure do.
Because they put a couple of games on other platforms because they were too big to take off because it just didn't make sense financially. And now people are like, oh, they're done with exclusives. They're never going to put anything on their platform. This is not something that occurs in the Nintendo or the PlayStation side of things. When a first party game is made, our assumption should be, as it always has been in other places, that it's going to be exclusive unless we're told otherwise. And I think it's ridiculous that we consistently have this conversation over and over again about like, is this game going to be exclusive? Is this game going to be exclusive? And like, I also don't think that the idea that they did this on purpose to like get more SEO was an intentional thing, but it's going to happen whether they did it on purpose or not, because there's going to be tons of articles where it's like, oh, they didn't do this thing, is it multi-platform? And then when they eventually say that it's not, then they'll get all of these different like hate tweets and hate articles about like, I can't believe they would make this exclusive.
Now it's funny you say that.
6 is exclusive to Xbox.
It's funny you say that because
time.
One of the tinfoil hats I saw, shout out to who you are, you know who you are, I'm not going to say it, that was one of their points. They said that they believe that part of the reason why they didn't say it is because some of them in the media may have immediately jumped to trying to besmirch it. You know, now Tango had the benefit of just shadow dropping Hi-Fi. The media didn't get a chance to besmirch it. We got our hands on it first, and we could see it was a quality game. They had no choice but to honor that and say, yeah, this is what it is. But with this, if they announce it and say, yeah, this is now Xbox is exclusive, they can put all the scrutiny in the world. That was the tinfoil hattery on it. So that plays into what you said. It's funny to me.
Yeah, it's this really irritating dance of just like, it's the exact opposite of what we were saying about PlayStation, where like they can just do whatever or do nothing as they've been doing for the last like year and a half, and just everyone will be like, they're fine, they'll figure it out. But Xbox, like every step they take is so scrutinized on a level that just doesn't make sense. Like, we should just assume certain things. If a game is coming out of first party, it's an exclusive game. Unless they tell us it's not, it's an exclusive game, because that's what they've proven to us over and over again. Is that is almost always what it's going to be. And I don't understand why this conversation keeps going.
Well, I know why it happens.
I know why.
It's the Hood hijinks from my Hood brothers. They purposely do it. So some of our people on our
Hooved hysterics.
That Hooved hysterics, and and a lot of our people, you know, fall for it and jump into that battle with them, and it makes it a thing. And that's why it pops up like that. But you're right. I also, too, I would throw out the fact that we don't have any PlayStation announcements like, oh, yeah, it's also coming here. Sony would have been all over that and said that
they would have put the trailer up or put out a bunch of tweets to be like, also coming to PlayStation, like what Xbox did after the showcase.
Yeah, exactly.
They would 100% take that opportunity if they thought it was coming to their platform.
That was hilarious. And that's the type of energy I love Microsoft to be on. Oh, it's also coming over here. I remember that. So Kay, what about you, brother? What do you think? Do you think it was a mistake? Do you think it was purposeful? I mean, now we know more or less for sure that it's exclusive, right? Now that they've added.
Yeah, it is 100% exclusive. I will say, whatever the reason behind it, the outcome is probably more than they could have expected, right? There has been a lot of shade and a lot of that console war talk, but it's also kept, and it will continue to keep this game and this topic in the mind and in the zeitgeist for a while, right? Because between this and IGN with their umpteenth, hey, you know that Elder Scrolls is not going to be exclusive, right?
Hey, you know how to cancel Game Pass, by the way.
Yeah, exactly, right? That kind of stuff. So, like, I will not speculate on whether it was on purpose or it was an accident, but I will say the intended result might lead us to getting more ambiguous trailers in the future because, hey, keep talking, baby. Go ahead. 100%. You know what I mean?
If they can get more SEO out of not telling us specifically, even though it should be obvious, they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Like if they can, if they can backdoor into just getting 17 extra articles written about their game, it's gonna work for them every time.
Although, Daniel, I will give them a little bit of smoke because you were saying, like, why is it that we always have to continue having this conversation? Absolutely, I hear you. But that's because Microsoft has trained their consumers to ask that question, right? PlayStation won't even give you, like, there's not even a question. You don't have to ask the question because the question is stupid for you to ask in the first place, right?
Well, but I think
the moment that we heard Insomniac.
Because there's only been like 2 or 3 games that they'll publish other places. It's anything Minecraft or anything Call of Duty.
Yes, but you see, that is you following what they do rather than what they say. When they say case by case, it leaves ambiguous. It leaves ambiguity, right? And I get why they do that, and they have to do that, and it's smart that they do that. Yeah. But that also has the unintended consequence of always asking the same question. Ooh, is this one going to be it? It is case by case. Yeah,
because
is this one going to do it?
The 2 Quake games ended up being multi-platform. Quake 1 and Quake 2 remasters, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
And people don't even know, like, if they do a Fallout remake, Fallout 3 Oblivion remake,
it will most likely be on PlayStation.
Multi-platform.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. You know, the ZeniMax Online game that they've been working on for a while. Is that going to be a multi-platform? Like, what about all the Blizzard games? What about the rumored Odyssey game?
I'll do you one better. I can see a world where even their existing what do you call it, gas games start branching out. See them in other places.
See Thieves on Switch too, perhaps?
There you go. There you go. There you go. I could see that. Yes.
Halo Infinite on PlayStation. You won't
see it because it won't happen.
Now that would be a little absurd.
Hey, now
that would be absurd.
Yeah. We didn't sign up for you to come on here and blaspheme against us.
Sea of Thieves on Switch 2. Okay. Grounded Switch 2. Okay. Halo Infinite.
Hell no.
I don't know about that.
No.
As long as it's on what? So you're saying as long as it's on Nintendo and not on PlayStation, it's all right?
Oh no. I'm not even saying PlayStation specifically versus Switch or whatever. I'm saying those could potentially branch out more because they've almost exhausted their audience on the core platform, right? Everyone knows that it's a known commodity. It's been making a lot of numbers, right? If you put it on other platforms, are Xbox people really going to be like, oh, screw this, I'm not going to play this anymore because Sea of Thieves is now on PlayStation? Come on.
No, but here's the other part of it, right? Is you're listing these games that they're publishing on other places, and you're like, this means that any of them could be there, but we don't do that for PlayStation, and they also publish things everywhere. We get MLB The Show on Xbox. We see the Marathon is coming here. Destiny, if there's a third Destiny, is going to continue to be here.
While I agree with you,
I would
Danny,
assume that Fair Games is going to be multi-platform. Whatever.
While I agree with you, look at your options that you've chosen. Right, I agree with you, but the options you chose was MLB The Show, which by and large everyone seems to suggest MLB pushed the button on that one. All right, Marathon and Bungie. That is something that was in place in their contract before they would even sign the dotted line. So none of them have actually done that like properly, like Microsoft does it, right? So you know,
I just feel
on
like
Microsoft, it's a little different.
Excuses, you know what I mean?
Sony, what if Sony takes over the board of Bungie? Maybe they say no, Marathon's not multi-platform anymore.
Exactly.
Now we own you.
Then it'll fail catastrophically. Like they will absolutely keep live service games multi-platform because it's really the only way for them to be.
Well, they can keep it to Sony and to PC. They'd have to change it
to PC. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. I could see that happening where all of a sudden they're like, look, we're reinvesting in our purchase, and we decided that we're not going to spend the money on the console, the other console, PC and PlayStation 5. I could see that happening, of course.
Which I think also,
and they have the right to do that.
They do.
They will fail.
They do.
100%.
Yeah, but I
Well,
expect
who says
They'll probably
that
fail anyway,
though?
To be fair.
Who says that they will fail? Like whether they
I'm saying
fail
that,
or they
to be right.
succeed may will not have any bearing on the PlayStation on the Xbox console, right? As long as they got PC covered, it will have their success or failure will have no bearing on the Xbox console. Why do I say that? Because many a game says, hey, many a gas games that are on PC and PlayStation but not on Xbox say hello. Genshin Impact, for
is a
example.
prime example.
Yeah, well, that one's on mobile.
You know,
That's where that
sure.
one gets its entire player base.
Okay, sure. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. But the Final Fantasy, you know,
14.
all the Final Fantasy games that are on PC and PlayStation 5, but not on Xbox.
But okay, well, but two things on that is the ones that are live service games like 14 aren't also coming to Xbox, and then the ones that aren't.
Well, they are now.
Finally,
goals,
yeah.
So.
But this is my point.
And
They are
Square Enix
now. They
coming out being
reached
like,
their.
we're not making our money like every time.
Well,
so
they
I'm like,
reached their height in their success on Final Fantasy so much so that they stopped even selling it at some point. But now it's coming to that console.
insane.
I'm just saying. I'm not trying to slander. I'm just saying. In general, just like Xbox can say we can go on Xbox and PC and we don't need PlayStation, so can PlayStation say the same thing.
Yeah.
Sure thing. Yeah, 100%. That wasn't really my point. My point was just like they're also publishing things on other platforms. So why is it never a question
That
when
is
they
true.
put out a game? Because they're not putting a thing in their trailers. It's like only on PlayStation, right? If when
They don't have
announced
to anymore.
Wolverine, they don't need to.
They don't have to
And so
anymore.
it's just ludicrous to me that people are like, but is this Xbox game going to PlayStation? It's like, no,
it's
it's not.
different
Unless they
scrutiny.
tell you it is, it's not.
It's different scrutiny. We all know it. But I was going to say one thing. I think just tinfoil headery. If they are going to go the route of putting the game day and date with the PC with PlayStation, as far as those type of live service games, might expedite the rush of other first party games to go to PC when it launches too. I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, when the money just starts flowing and your money men, your investors start seeing money coming because of day one purchases from a larger install base, trying to tell them that next game we're not going to do that becomes a little difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
But gentlemen,
You know.
this show has gone on now about to be 3 hours, and it felt like it breezed through. Just
I'm
talking.
gonna have to send. What email can I send my
I'll send a couple
my
of you
invoice
your
to you
way.
for? You
I'll
know,
send
me
it-
and
yeah.
Asante, we did overtime for this.
You did.
know?
I
That's right.
appreciate you fellas so much.
I had to get up and walk and stretch a couple times. You didn't see none of that.
Yeah, we only pay in Bitcoin. Or
Listen, I'll send you a squeegee for your new car, K Asante, and Rand, I'll send you a cup of au and an Italian beef undipped,
Oh
and you
yeah.
have your way. Have your way.
The Chicago guys with their fucking dripping beef.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Big pause. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Oh.
Got the big beef over here too. You
You
know what I
gotta
mean?
get big pause for the big beef.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, so
Man,
Big,
all
big,
right.
not only big beef, big wet beef.
hey, yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Got it dipped. You know, that's how we do here. Got it.
Drenched wet beef. All right. Okay.
Y'all live in a circus.
Jesus.
So listen, I want to say I appreciate you guys in the chat for holding us down. If you guys have not done so, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new and you haven't. And I want to start getting us out of here. And Rand, my Chicago brother with our esteemed dipped beefs.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Tell the good folks where they can find you and what you'll be up to.
Let us touch beef tips, shall we?
Oh God! Pause.
They're docking. They're
Lord,
docking
help
live
me.
on podcast.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me. It was awesome. I didn't even really know it was 3 hours that went by like this.
Yeah.
This is really, it was a lot of fun. But you can always find me at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roundthor19, where we do the Xbox 2 podcast every Friday, usually. And videos will be coming probably next year at some point. Get back into that, as I haven't really been feeling it. But I love the podcast with Jez, so check it out tomorrow.
Absolutely, you guys are the best, man. You know, I got nothing but love
Thank
for
you.
you. I've been watching you for years, so and
Same.
very much a big inspiration. So when Kay said that earlier, he wasn't joking. I think we all, you all are the giants we kind of walk on your shoulders. So I agree with that statement. So much appreciated, brother. And what I do appreciate about you too, and you too, Kay. Kay is actually the first person that brought me into a podcast itself. Like I was already in talks to do it with Risk It and such, and us doing that for Xbox Infinite. but Kay's like literally jumped into a space with me. I was hosting spaces left and right, and he's like, "Man,
Yeah.
I like your insight, brother. Why don't you come through?" And I thought that was so dope of you, Kay. I appreciate.
I remember when you were all about Twitter Spaces. What happened?
I was, man. They turned so toxic. Even my black ass had to get up out of there. I'm like,
you
nah.
tried to get me in a few of those, and I'm like, hell no. Nope.
They also kind
Listen.
of stopped happening in my experience. Like I
No,
just
they
don't
still
see
happen.
them.
They still happen.
I don't see them as often though.
Not
Like,
as
Paris
often.
used to hold them all the time, and now
Yeah.
he
He
just
did.
like barely ever.
He did. And that's how I met Paris actually too, through Uni's space. But
I bet you there's some therapy sessions going on right now.
I bet there are.
Honestly.
I bet there are actually. Yeah, they happen. It's just not as frequent as it
with
used to.
colorful titles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all type of colorful language in there too. But yeah, thank you, Rand. Of course, the your information is in the description, and I'll make sure to expand if I need to add anything. I'm going to put timestamps later on, folks, in case you guys come by later. And of course, my esteemed, super intelligent 4090 having also
Oh boy. Oh boy.
computer, super computer savvy. What else can I throw you out to? Captain Key's brother lookalike.
Now it's just slanderous.
Where do they dip meat in where you're from?
Oh. Pause.
Oh my goodness.
Wait a minute. This is one.
No, sir. I refrain to continue that line of conversation, sir. No.
I actually don't know where you're from.
What do you mean? Where I'm from? The crazy place called Florida. It'll be in Vice City. Don't worry.
Well,
Yeah.
you threw me
Don't
off
worry.
before because you said something about Canada,
He
and I
did.
was like,
Yeah.
wait, what?
Oh yeah. I've lived all over the place. I went high school in Canada.
I've
for a
been
while, so, yes.
everywhere,
Gotcha.
man.
That's right.
And
Indeed,
Kay,
indeed. But no,
Asante,
these
my
days
esteemed-
I'm in Florida.
You are. You're
Mhm.
a Floridian. Kay, my
Mhm.
my esteemed brother. Thank you so much for jumping in. I know I kind of came towards you to ask you somewhat late. Well, it was like 2 or 3 days in advance. Right?
Nah, man. It was always anytime you need a person on the show. Of course you can reach out. When I can, I'm lingering in the background. Go ahead, man.
So
I know you're about to do it.
So
Go
you're
ahead,
saying whenever I call you, you'll be there?
I'll be there. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Whenever
I know you're gonna do it.
call
Go ahead.
You'll be
Uh-huh.
there. I changed it.
There you go.
You won't get sued.
I
that
needed to
way.
wait. I needed to wait for that. Go ahead.
You already knew what's coming, didn't you?
Uh-huh.
Well, brother, I appreciate you coming through.
Yes.
Where can the good folks find you? What we be up to? And I know you have something special coming up. Rand, you might want to come through for this.
Oh,
Yeah. So first off, Asante, TKO Asante on PlayStation, Xbox, all those places we communicate. Host of the Gaming Circle podcast, which is on hiatus until 2024, but 2 interesting things coming in your feed that way. We are doing a spoiler chat. We're still working the logistics of the day we're going to do it. We want to do a spoiler chat for Starfield and really just, really talk about it, because I feel like it's a conversation that people haven't had, especially that new Game Plus stuff that's been completely crazy. So we want to have that talk. So check that out. And the second part, we are giving away an Xbox Series X on my birthday, which is December 25th. It's also another day. It's also another day that day, but screw that day. It's my birthday. That's what it is on the 25th.
And speaking of
And
birthdays,
we will be giving away a Series X.
Speaking of birthdays, so yours is December. What is it again?
25th.
Literally on Christmas. Sweet.
No.
Christmas.
It's December 25th. Yeah, not Christmas. My birthday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Screw that
You're taking it back.
I gotcha.
You're taking it back. Sweet Christmas. All right. And actually,
Yes.
and by the way, Everborn's birthday is Saturday, right?
That's right. Yeah, this Saturday is his birthday.
So
Yes,
shout out
absolutely.
to our December
Nice.
Capricorns right here.
Yep. So real quick to be entered in the giveaway, basically follow Everborn, follow myself on x.com, subscribe to the channel. We'll pick a member of our channel. We'll make sure you adhere to all those rules, as in who you're following and all that, and we will reach out to you and send you an Xbox Series X wherever in the world you are. We will work with you. We will send you that console. So check it out. Thank you guys for having me. It's awesome. The great Rand Althor. I always appreciate getting to hear his takes live. Not always have to hear the bean man himself.
I
like
don't get invited
interrupting your takes.
to the Saturday show. I don't get
Well.
Although, to be
you
fair,
hear it here first.
I'm
I've been on
never
the show
up at
before.
that time.
Yes, I know. It's
10
difficult. It's difficult. I know. But no, you've been on our show before, and
Of
we will of
course.
course have you back on again in 2024 whenever you're available to do it. But yes, thank you guys so much for having me. It's been great. It's been really fun.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. I mean, I always love your insight into the topics and things like that. You give me reason to improve every time I hear you talk. I'm like, okay, this brother's too smart for me. Hold on. Let me turn my thesaurus to page 52. What did he just say? What was that word? Okay.
Thesaurus.
My thesaurus.
Oh boy.
And my esteemed co-host Daniel McGee, where can the people find you, brother, and what will you be up to?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter as always at Daniel J McGee or at my personal YouTube channel of Daniel McGee. This was a really fun show. Literally two of my favorite people on this platform, and also Umbra, who's fine, I guess.
Hey,
wow,
just a really
I'll take
fun.
Take that. That's all right.
I really love how we can have a conversation that like we all disagree and just nothing really comes of it. It's just a conversation.
Yeah.
And
you can ramble about AEW and stuff.
I can ramble about AEW, right. the superior modern wrestling faction. It's just a great time. I'm actually working on a video project right now for sort of reviewing the Game Awards. I used to do it every year, and I took last year off because I just didn't have anything new to say. But they've actually managed to dig a newer, deeper hole that apparently now even people in the industry are starting to complain about some of the issues that I've been talking about for a very long time. So I'm gonna do that again because it's a conversation that needs to be had of just like, are we actually honoring and celebrating video games, or is this about making money? And it's the second one. Spoilers. So swing on by.
Swing on by. Walk on by. So I had to do this because, by the way, Everborn is a Sagittarius. He's right on the cusp, as Pixel pointed out to me. But that's all right. Just to say, we were in a party earlier, Gray, Monad, myself, Pete, everybody, and I was singing it. He said, sing it during the show, and I said I would. So I just wanted to sing it really quick. Peter likes to party all the time, party all the time. Party all the time.
Man.
He has parties all the damn time inside the Xbox. Oh, you want to join my party, bro? Yeah, so he does it all the time. But listen, man, it has been a blast, man. Appreciate you two gentlemen. Danny, you okay too. And revenge. And thank you all in the chat. We will get out of here. You can find myself. Oh no. You can find me of course on Twitter, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You will find me either way. And on Tuesdays with Xbox Factory with Boom, Thursdays here on The Fix, and Fridays tomorrow on Xbox Infinite with myself, Risky for the Biscuit, Jedi Knight Peter, and that blue number. So you all come by and show us love. And I think I'll actually be swinging by for that spoiler talk as well, okay? So
excellent.
Listen, I think I have just about as many hours as anybody else in that game. I think Pixel may have beat me now, but I have 334 hours into Starfield. So
jeez.
Yeah. So,
all right.
If anybody can talk about it, I can, damn it. But man, thank you guys so much. We will see you guys later, and we are out.